ಓಡಾಡೋದು ಅಡ್ಡ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? ಓಕೆ.
Request all of you to please follow COVID protocol with the number of cases increasing. Seating also would be as per the COVID protocol. We'll just leave one chair vacant next to us. And a request all of you to please keep your phones on silent. As our guests are arriving, and once we begin with our discussion and the inaugural programs. Request the participants to rise as our guests are here. Please be seated. Audience, please be seated. May I request the dignitaries to occupy the seats in the front row? Our panelists. Padmajan. Yeah, sure. Yeah, please. Sit. A very good morning to one and all present here. When asked about what is entrepreneurship, it was described in one word as a journey. A famous Chinese philosopher said, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." We are here amongst many who have taken that step towards achieving their dreams and several others on the verge of doing it. Today we have gathered to
Recording in
explore
progress.
more about the nuances of the road less traveled and discover the ways of making a fruitful one. May I request the dignitaries for the inaugural program, our Chief Finance Officer, Shri G. Ramchandra Sir, Mr. Deepan Sahu, Assistant Director of Innovation Cell from Ministry of Education, and our Director, Dr. Manasanaga Bhushanam, to please occupy the seats on the dais. We begin the program with an invocation to the God Almighty, followed by the Ramaya anthem. Request the audience to please rise.
सकलांतर्यामी हरिणी चाल भजिन्तुम् ज्ञानं विज्ञानं च भक्तिसहितम्
ಕಟ್ಟಿದ ಕನಸಿನ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯವಿದು
ದೀಪದೊಳು ಪ್ರದೀಪಗಳ ಬೆಳಗುವ ಶ್ರದ್ಧಾ ಸ್ಥಾನವಿದು
ಅರಿವಿನ ದಿಗಂತದಾಚೆಗೆ ಜಿಗಿಯುವ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲವಿದು ಗೃಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಗೃಹ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣವೇ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನದ ಸೋಪಾನವಿದು ಅಮಿತ ಜ್ಞಾನತೆ ಸಾಧನ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವಿದು ಪ್ರತಿಭೆಯ ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡಲು ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿಯ ಕೇಂದ್ರವಿದು ಅಜ್ಞಾನದ ಕತ್ತಲೆ ನೀಗುವ ಸುಜ್ಞಾನದ ಸೂರ್ಯನ ರಶ್ಮಿದು
ಜಗದೋದ್ಧಾರದ ಹೊಂಗನಸಲು ಹೊತ್ತ ಅರಿವಿನ ತಾಣವಿದು
ಅರಿವಿನ ಹಣತೆಯು ಬೆಳಗಲು ಚೆಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಸಂಖ್ಯಾತ ಕಿರಣಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲೆಡೆ ಹೊರಹೊಮ್ಮಿವೆ ಜಯವೆನ್ನುವ ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ
Thank you, all of you. May I request our dignitaries to please light the lamp and begin the program. A lamp evades darkness, brings in knowledge, and is a source of enlightenment. Make a request the dignitaries to offer floral tributes to our founder chairman, Shri M.S. Ramaya, sir. Shri M.S. Ramaya, a visionary, a philanthropist, and a social reformer, one of our pioneers in the field of education. Thank you, dignitaries. It is indeed my honor and a privilege to welcome all of you to the panel discussion on embracing entrepreneurship. This discussion has been organized by the Center of Entrepreneurship at Ramaya Institute of Management. This is an event organized in collaboration with Ramaya Evolute. We have amongst us as the chief guest for the inaugural program, Mr. Deepan Sahu, Assistant Innovation Director, Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell and AICTE Government of India. Shri G. Ramachandra Sir, our Chief Finance Officer, and Dr. Manasanaga Bhushanam, Director, Academics, Research and Administration, Ramaya Institute of Management. Also present in the audience are the founders of Co-Create Ventures, Shri Suresh Narsimha Sir, our panelists for the panel discussions for the panels on entrepreneurship and women entrepreneurship. We have budding entrepreneurs from various entrepreneurial associations, Emerge, faculty from Ramaya Institute of Management, faculty and students from our sister concerns, and several other enthusiastic student participants who have come here for this panel discussion. A very warm welcome to all of you. We are immensely honored to have you all for the program. May I now request Dr. Manasanaga Bhushanam to present the welcome address.
Good morning. Hearty welcome to this program, the panel discussion on embracing entrepreneurship. So if we start thinking where the seeds at Ramaya was sown for this entrepreneurship, so it begins with the founder. So now we are celebrating the centenary year of Dr. M.S. Ramaya, and he himself being an entrepreneur, and his vision is being realized today not only through many institutions but also through many industries that he established. So taking his vision forward, the entire Ramaya group of institutions have their own smaller ecosystems of nurturing these innovations and startups. So whether it is Ramaya Institute of Technology, Ramaya Institute of Management, or the Ramaya University of Applied Sciences, or the Degree College, or the Law College, all these places have some spark where these startups have been nurtured, ideas have been generated, and these ideas are taken to the next stage, to the levels of commercialization. At Ramaya Institute of Management, we have Ramaya Innovation and Incubation Center, which provides space for a number of entrepreneurs with mentoring support. So we try and nurture their ideas and enable them to move forward by giving them examples of various role models who are successful in entrepreneurship, and also some of the challenges of entrepreneurship that we'll have to face. So not all entrepreneurs who make a beginning would succeed. There'll be many lessons to learn. So if you win, it is good. If you fail, it is a learning, and we need to restart again. So the whole entrepreneurship journey is attempting to succeed, and even if you fail, you don't lose heart, and you stand up again to reset and restart your journey again. So in a way, entrepreneurship is a mindset, basically, because in entrepreneurship, because I myself had been an entrepreneur, and then until and unless you constantly innovate, look at various opportunities, What is the new thing that you are going to do? So it is very difficult for us to move ahead and even put some baby steps in this field. But all that we need is kind of a support, kind of an ecosystem that has to be provided in educational institutions because we start early. Just few minutes back when we were speaking to Mr. Deepan Sahu, he was telling us how schools and institutions, higher educational institutions have to get connected so that the seeds of entrepreneurship are sown at a very, very early stage. So once our frame of mind is set for a job, for something common, for something complacent, then we will not try out the new. So, but what we need in entrepreneurship and what India requires today for the next 10 years or 20 years is that we need entrepreneurs. So if India has to stand as a country which can provide direction to all other countries in the world, of course, we stand today at the second position for the number of startups which have been constantly coming up in our country. So if you have seen the list of entrepreneurial ventures in each of these areas, if you take health or if you take education, the kind of people who are getting into it. Earlier, entrepreneurs had an average age of 30 to 40, but today it is all youngsters who are here, who are trying to venture out. So we need to start very early and tread a new path to become more independent and more successful. So earlier, the vision was that I don't want to work under somebody. That was the main intention of setting up a new venture, but today it is not that. It is the passion. It is that something which drives us to take to the, it is the purpose of living, which is called as the ikigai. So that itself takes us or drives us to get into something called as an entrepreneurship. So I'm not an expert in this. We have the TEDx speaker, Pratik, who is also here, who would be speaking, who will be giving some direction in his talk. And we have all stalwarts who have come here, who have treaded this path and who have their learnings to share with the young minds so that we can see how we can start thinking in a different direction rather than going in the same old way, blaming and thinking about the past. So entrepreneurship is not just thinking about the past, it is based on the past, you are treading the future, you are setting a future. So only those who are futuristic can take up this kind of a journey, which is entrepreneurship. So I'm very happy to tell you that we have a very good ecosystem in the Ramaya group of institutions, not only in individual institutions, but at the larger space. Ramaya Institute of Technology has started its Ramaya Evolute. So we actually wanted the CEO of Evolute to be here to speak about Evolute. So it is an ecosystem which provides funding for the startups and drive them through success. So it is a multidisciplinary approach wherein all the institutions contribute their little to make these companies successful. So on behalf of the Center for Entrepreneurship, Ramaya Institute of Management, I take this opportunity to heartily welcome Mr. Deepan Sahu, who has accepted a young mind. You can see him, and he heads the innovation cell in the Ministry of Education, and he has a very good profile which will be presented to you later. So on behalf of all the group of institutions and specifically Ramaya Institution of Management, I welcome Mr. Deepan Sahu to this program. I would also welcome our Chief of Finance, G. Ramachandra. From the day we started thinking about this concept of entrepreneurship, and soliciting for commencing a course on entrepreneurship, that is PGDM, Innovation, Entrepreneurship and Venture Development. Our management has been very supportive, and that is what was in their mind, that something of this kind of a course has to guide the students of future. So I profusely thank Ramachandra sir for accepting our invitation and having come here for this inaugural program. Thank you so much, sir. I thank all the panelists who are here. They'll all be introduced in the next 2 sessions. So thanks a lot for making it possible. I thank all the moderators and welcome the moderators to this program, Mr. Suresh Narsimha of Co-Create Ventures and Dr. Triveni, who initially started the Ramaya Innovation Center with Giga Innovation at Ramaya Institute of Management. She will also be moderating the Women Entrepreneurial session. And then I would like to welcome the faculty of all the institutions, Ramaya Institute of Technology, and then the Polytechnic College, the Law College, and the Degree College, and our own faculty from Ramaya Institute of Management. I would also like to welcome the press who have kindly accepted to give a coverage, not only in the print media, but also in the electronic media. Thank you so much for joining us. I would like to welcome all the students from different institutions. So you have come here only because you have that kind of a spark. So I'm sure that anything which has to start big has to start with a very simple idea. Okay, so thank you so much for joining, and our own students of Ramaya Institute of Management. I welcome one and all. I hope to have the best of the deliberations today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. May I now request our Chief Finance Officer, Shri G. Ramachandra sir, to present a flower bouquet as a gesture of welcome and appreciation to Mr. Deepan Sahu. May I now request our Director, Dr. Manasanaga Bhushanam ma'am, to present a bouquet to our Chief Finance Officer, Shri G. Ramachandra sir. Thank you, ma'am. Ramaya Institute of Management has been a pioneer in management education. The Center for Entrepreneurship was established in the year 2021 to take the expertise to the next level. Request Professor Megha to present about the center to the gathering.
Thank you, Professor Yashaswini. Good morning, one and all. I'm Professor Megha. Along with me, my colleague, Professor Yashaswini Murthy, we are coordinating the Center for Entrepreneurship, as mentioned, started in 2021. This Center for Entrepreneurship at Ramaya Institute of Management, we started this with the aim of creating a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship that would provide our students with the opportunities to turn their ideas into successful ventures. In support of this, Ramaya Institute of Management was granted the permission by the AICTE to run an exclusive 2-year full-time PGDM program in innovation, entrepreneurship, and venture development. The curriculum of PGDM IEV is a perfect blend of practical and conceptual knowledge coupled with experiential learning to kickstart the ventures and create a difference in their businesses. This unique transformational program is curated for innovators, change makers, creators. Students get guidance through industry experts from different sectors along with hands-on experience in pitching their ideas, building network, and in collaborating. Currently, We have mentors associated with the Center for Entrepreneurship. We have one of our mentor, Mr. Suresh Natsima, who has joined us today. Along with Mr. Suresh Natsima, we also have Dr. Arvind MT, who is also a serial entrepreneur and is handholding our students on concepts related to customer discovery and lean startup. These students currently are the first batch of students. They are in their second semester. With their prototypes ready, these students are now working on their customer discovery. The program guides future leaders, change makers, and venture funders to establish new businesses. This center is supported by Ramaya Evolute, the India's first cross-disciplinary startup ecosystem. It is headed by Mr. Samartha Raghava and Mr. Murali Krishna, who would be joining us later in the event. The center has also entered into 2 MOUs. The first MOU is with Mr. Suresh Natsima's venture, Co-Create. It's a VC firm that focuses on helping companies turn around by investing capital and management capabilities. We have another MOU with Forum for Women Entrepreneurs, FOWE, and we have conducted various seminars and workshops with them on survival strategies and redefining business for women entrepreneurs. The center has started off with a webinar series named Anubhav. Now, this series was aimed to reach out to the students on areas related to entrepreneurship. We have entrepreneurs sharing their experience, their life experiences, why they started off, how they started off, who motivated them to start, what were the ups and downs that they had to face in their venture, where are they currently now. So various aspects like this. This Anubhav session is a platform of experiential sharing. This motivates our students to take their ideas forward. Today, thinking is more important than knowing. And hence, we at Center for Entrepreneurship are thriving to cultivate the entrepreneurial mindset among the students of Ramaya Institute of Management. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Megha. We are indeed honored to have with us Mr. Deepan Sahu, Assistant Innovation Director, Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell and AICTE, Government of India. Thank you, sir, for taking time out from your busy schedule to be here for this event. Request you to please address the gathering for the inaugural session.
Very good mornings to all. So just say good morning, so let's send the vibe, right? Yes. Then I will thank Ramaya Institute of Management, Gokul Group of Institutions, especially the Director of Institute, Professor Manasa Madam Ji, then the Chief Financial Officer, Sri Ji Ramachandra Ji. So this is my second visit to Bangalore, but actually I'm really happy to see the Ramaya Institute of Management's role, especially, and just I'm here to witness that how the institute is trying to develop the ecosystem and setting a trend for other institutions to follow. Just before reaching to this room, we had a detailed discussion the role of or the kind of activities played by Ramaya Institute of Management, and it was told that they are not restricting their role within the boundary, and they are always going to the schools, community, and also to the other institutions. Those are part of the group. So this is a forward-looking approach generally you will not see in many institutions. And we always emphasize that rather working in an isolation, how an integrated approach and system approach will help in institutionalizing the whole thing, where the multiplier effect of any intervention will achieve. This is generally missing in our ecosystem. That's why majority of the academic institutions, though they are offering many programs, even MBA, MTech, or even the engineering or all kind of disciplines, you will not find the campus so vibrant and conducive climate for innovation and entrepreneurship. And this trend is happening since long, but the major breakthroughs happened just a couple of years back, and when we started this innovation cell at Ministry of Education. And after that also, I think you all know about National Education Policy. It was launched in 2020. And there are so many policy interventions, so many programs we have started in last 3 to 4 years that actually helped to press the set button again and to look in a fresh mode that how we will develop the ecosystem, and those have already exist the ecosystem, how we will streamline it and strengthen it, and those have not established, how we are going to establish so that the whole system will be sustained and it will create a kind of a multiplier effect, not only within the institutions, also our educational institutions will play the lead role to drive the national ecosystem. I hope you all know the Global Innovation Index is one of the measure where countries' ecosystem are, we measure the country's ecosystem where we stand. In 2016, in Global Innovation Index, India secured, or India positioned 86th position, 86th. And after that, Ministry of Education started this innovation cell, and we have started so many programs. I will cover all these programs in my afternoon session. And other ministries like Innovation Mission, Ministry of Science and Technology, Ministry of Railway, Ministry of, I think more than 35 ministries at the central level, and almost more than 25 state governments, they've started emphasizing, they brought lots of startup missions, programs, policies, and you will see the kind of in the things, the paradigm shift happened, and we have moved from 86th position in 2016 to 46th position in 2021. And let me give you another perspective actually how it happened. See, in India, we have more than 55,000 higher educational institutions. 55,000, you are only one out of 55,000, your institute. And out of 55,000 institutions, around 4,000 are technical or engineering, or you can say the management. And another 5,000 institutions are polytechnic institutions. So 10,000 is technical or management. Remain 40,000 or 45,000 are the non-technical, like they are offering arts and science and commerce class and other courses, right? And more than 4 crore students are studying in these institutions. Similarly, we have more than 25 lakh schools. You can imagine the students. And out of this, when we did a survey in 2018, we found only 400 institutions have some level of ecosystem. Only 400 out of 55,000. And in 2019, India positioned 3rd in the vibrant startup ecosystem across all the countries, across in the world. So we have secured 3rd in 2019 with just 400 institutions are active. And in last 3 years, this 400 numbers has reached to 3,500 number today. I'm telling the today's number. And this is the one of the biggest role played in escalating or taking up the position from 86 to 46 position. And we are aiming in next 3 to 4 years, definitely India will secure in the top 25 position. And our aim is that how at least 20,000 institutions will have this kind of ecosystem, and in every institute, 20 to 30% of the student mass should have some opportunity to learn, to engage, to practice, and also they have critical role in producing more innovations and entrepreneurs from these institutions. When we will reach this critical mass, then I think after that the role of government will be minimal, and we will withdraw from this support system, and our education institutions will lead the whole system on a sustainable manner, and thereafter you will see that this 20,000, reaching from 20,000 to 50,000 will not take more than 2 to 3 years. Only reaching this critical mass will require lots of support system. That's why government came into this picture, and we are providing all kind of handholding and support systems to make, connect, and build this whole network system of Institutions Innovation Council. I hope you all are aware about this Institutions Innovation Council. We have other programs like Auto ranking of institutions on innovation achievement, where we measure every higher education institutions in the scale of innovation, that where they stands. And for the students, it is kind of a message that actually which institutions you should choose for your higher studies, so that in addition to the study, you will also get another aspect of exploring innovation and entrepreneurship career and all kind of support system, so that your learning should not only limited to only getting higher score or OGPA in the programs, also trying, testing, and building a startup during the academic itself, so that you will be prepared better to take a better challenge, and also you will contribute to nation building in a meaningful way. So all these things, kind of a gamut of and system approach we are aiming for. I will cover in detail in my afternoon session or also in the panel discussion. But one thing I should mention, because you all are the students, and also I can see the faculty members, you have joined this session, that means you have some interest. And this interest, you have to further dig it up, and you have to further discover where your core interest lies. So actually what you want to become and what you want to do in your future, you have to find out the answer for these questions, so that it will help you to shape your career choice. And definitely next to 1 year or the 2 years, whatever you have in your hand, and you have to utilize it in very judiciously and effectively, so that the resources at the institute and the intellectuals at the institute and the industries and all kind of startups, you have to utilize, you have to leverage the opportunities, and you have to at least try. And even if you will fail also, that's not a matter, but you should try and go through the process of innovation and entrepreneurship. That will definitely increase your confidence, and when you will join any program or any corporate job or anywhere, you will perform better. At least if not an entrepreneur, you will behave like an entrepreneur. So this is the way you have to look, and we will discuss in detail. With this, I will close my topic here, and I think Sir is already ready, and he will inspire you in a better way. So thank you all.
Thank you so much for those kind and encouraging words, Mr. Deepan Sahu. One of our constant support to all our endeavors here in Ramaya Institute of Management is our Chief Finance Officer, Shri G. Ramchandra sir. Sir, may I please request you to present the presidential address.
Good morning, everybody. Respected Chief Guest, Mr. Deepak Sanu, Dr. Manasanaga Bhushanam, and all the respected dignitaries, and respected faculty members, dear students. I'm happy to be part of this event. It's first of all my congratulations to the entire team of Management College for having this kind of program. I'm not choosing appropriate topic for the discussions. As our Deepak Sanu has told, when we see the number of students are passing out from all our institutions, and the ratio, percent of students who are taking of business on their own or some kind of entrepreneurship, it's very, very disheartening. It's very low compared to the number of scale we are doing it. In these connections, our management has taken many steps to create an ecosystem wherein there is more and more students go for entrepreneurship and do on their own business. In fact, we started Ramaya Evolute last 1 year back by floating a separate Section 8 company, wherein the management is kind enough to allocate every year 5 crores to fund the projects. We have given a incubation center with all the facilities, and also funding them to start their own. In fact, the management will be more happy if our students take that benefit. Though last year we allocated 5 years and 5 crores, and decided to fund 10 companies. Out of 10, I think 1 or 2 from our institutions, rest are all from the outside. So management is more keen so that our students take that benefit and use this funding as well as the facilities over here to evolve themselves. With this, I again congratulate the management team for having this kind of program. And I'm sure entrepreneurship is an adventure. It's another word for adventures. When you go for entrepreneurship, you have to take an adventure. Challenges are going to come. This kind of programs will give a more open to how to take up these challenges and come out successfully. I'm sure today there will be a lot of deliberations. Each one of you will participate enthusiastically, and there will be a lot of takeaway to all of you. I wish all the success for these programs. I'm sure the management college will take up more this kind of programs to encourage and more students to be part of this entrepreneurship development. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you so much, sir. You've always been very supportive and very encouraging for all our endeavors. Thank you so much, sir. We come to the conclusion of the inaugural session. May I request our dignitaries to take the seats on along with the audience. I request Mr. Deepan Sahu to stay back, maybe because we will have the panel set here. Our first panel is about entrepreneurship issues and challenges and the role of incubators. Our panelists for the first panel, Shri Mr. Deepan Sahu, Assistant Innovation Director, Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell and AICTE. We have Mr. Pratik Renews, a Fortune 500 consultant, TEDx speaker, global transformation coach. Request you to please come up on the dais. We have Mr. Raghutama Rao, CEO, GDC IIT Madras, who would be joining us online on the Zoom platform. The panel will be moderated by Mr. Suresh Narasimha, founder, Co-Create Ventures. May I request Mr. Suresh Narasimha also to please take his seat on the dais. The first panel is constituted to discuss and deliberate the issues and challenges of entrepreneurship. May I request Dr. Padmaja to please welcome the panel members. Request a flower bouquet to be presented to our panelists, Mr. Pratik Renews and the moderator, Mr. Suresh Narasimha. He'll be joining online. Hand mic will be arranged. May I now request Dr. Bhanumati to please introduce the panel members.
Good morning, one and all. I would like to introduce Mr. Deepan Sahu to this panel discussion. Mr. Deepan Sahu, sir, is currently serving as Assistant Innovation Director at the Innovation Cell of Ministry of Education, housed at All India Council for Technical Education, New Delhi. He is leading the formulation and nationwide implementation of various national policy initiatives towards institutionalization and benchmarking innovation practices in higher educational institutions such as National Innovation and Startup Policy, Atal Ranking of Institutions on Innovation Achievement, Institutions Innovation Council, etc. Mr. Sahu is an enthusiastic policy entrepreneur and practitioner actively contributing to the growth of the Indian startup ecosystem. His work engages a variety of ecosystem enablers and successfully established a scalable and sustainable model of the institution's Innovation Council network to foster I&E culture in more than 3,000 higher education institutions, which directly influences the career choice of 4 billion students. Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. Pratik to this gathering. Mr. Pratik, sir, is a mentor and advisor at Techstars, #3 ranked startup accelerator globally, where he mentors entrepreneurs. Based in Amsterdam and Pune, he has helped build over a dozen startups based in USA and EU go from 0 to 8 figures in revenue, notably amongst them Infanta and Kickstarter crowdfunded startup globally, Links and Freshers, etc. He actively speaks on marketing on various stages across the globe, such as TEDx, Asia Pacific Digital Marketing Conclave, and teaches marketing alongside marketing executives from Google, Facebook, Netflix as a lecturer at Ultima. Thank you. Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. R. Raghuttam Rao to this gathering. Mr. R. Raghuttam Rao, fondly called Raghu, is the Chief Executive Officer of GDC, former Chief Mentor of ICRA, a credit ranking analytical firm in South Asia, and a subsidiary of Moody's. His last executive role was as MD and CEO of IMACS. IMACS is a management consulting business founded by him as a subsidiary of ICRA, which has an operating footprint in over 20 countries. He was a member of ICRA startup team in 1991 and has helped develop many areas of ICRA, including credit rating, management consulting, analytics, IT, and research. Mr. Raghu has wide consulting experience in areas of public policy, risk, strategy, and capacity building. Prior to ICRA, Raghu has also worked with Larsen & Toubro Limited and Maruti Suzuki Limited. He has a postgraduate diploma in management from IIM Ahmedabad and is a Bachelor of Technology in ME from IIT Madras. He is a qualified management accountant and was a Fulbright scholar at Mellon University, Pittsburgh, USA. Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. Suresh Narasimha, moderator for this panel discussion. Mr. Suresh, sir, started his career with Siemens immediately after he graduated. After spending 3 years in the first wave of startups in India, he decided to jump into entrepreneurship. Since 2004, he has been part of the startup ecosystem as an entrepreneur and mentor. Some of his ventures are TL Brahma and Telebrahma, Sensora, and Monkeybox. Suresh Narasimha manages a turnaround fund, Co-Create Ventures, a VC firm that focuses on helping companies turn around by investing capital and management capabilities that they have. Some of the businesses Co-Create Ventures runs include Just Books, the world's most extensive network of libraries, venture that is focusing on bringing best of Indian coffee to global premium consumer segment. He's also on the board of TIE, world's largest ecosystem of Indian entrepreneurs, and currently run a special interest group around retail. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bhanumati. Now over to the panelists. We are more eager to know about the issues and what can be the role of incubators in the whole process. Over to you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Good morning, everyone. Right? I mean, just to help us get our message to the right audience. May I know how many of you are faculties here? Students? Good. And how many of you are running a company of your own or looking to start a company? I mean, overall audience, right? So I hope we'll have few more hands by the end of this session. That's the whole. So let me, okay, I was talking to Deepan sir and Pratik. We would love to make it more interactive. Nothing stops you from raising your hands and asking us any question, right? Anytime, right? Of course, we'll have a separate Q&A, but feel free to stop us and ask any questions that you want. We are perfectly okay with that. That's point number one. Point number two, before even we start, right? So I just want to tell you what makes me so excited to be here, right? So can you guys name me around 8-10 startups or technology companies that you use every day, right? Any companies, right? That you use every day on your mobile phone or on the internet or even otherwise. Just name few companies that. Pardon me? Phone Pay, okay? Dunzo, Zerodha. Very, very happy to hear all Indian names, but unfortunately use Facebook and WhatsApp more than them. That's the right. Any other companies? Udaan, okay? Sure, you are not using Udaan. Zepto, okay. Ola. Bounce. Can you name some non-Indian companies? Amazon. Upgrade, okay. Surprising that no one mentioned Google, Microsoft, Facebook. Probably that's the result of being in management college than in the technology class. Right, so guys, the reason why I wanted to talk about these things is, whenever I go and ask people what are the 10 most popular apps that you use, they say Google, Microsoft, Dell, etc., etc. Those are the most popular ones. There are two things about all these companies. A, these companies were started in the campuses by students like you all, or from the faculties like you are. For example, Qualcomm, some of the companies that we know are started by the faculties. A. B, today most of these companies are headed by Indians, which we are proud of, right? Right? My question is, if startups can happen in campus, and if Indians can go and manage those startups, why can't we have such startups coming out of Indian campuses? Is the question that we try to answer, and I'm sure my panelists have a lot of answer to these questions, right? So with this, let me start by requesting my panel members. Sir, I just want to share a few things about what you are doing in this space, right? And why students should be excited about building their startups in India.
Okay. So to answer the question, I will not answer with yes and no, definitely. Because if I will answer yes and no, then the knowledge will be within me. So to diffuse my answer to all the things, let me align the mind, the thought process with somewhere. See, we are part of, every individual are part of the one economy. Either you are part of the economy of your household, and your household is part of the economy of your village or the town, and you are the part, or your village or your town is part of the economy of your state, and your state is the part of the nation, and nation is the part of the global economy. So are you able to connect how you are the part of the global economy? You got the connection? So that means every activity what you will do has some reflection and impact on the global. Because the collective and cumulative effect of yours will be the result of the global economy. That means what we do today, it has a reflection. And in global economy, every country compete. In global economy, every country compete. Because they have to achieve better and they have to develop. That's why, and for the advancement of any economy, there is need, our individuals have to contribute, and they have to also refine their thought process. And it has been seen that those countries have innovation and entrepreneurship is the prime focus of their strategy, of their economic advancement. They progress well. And it has been proved, irrespective of your developed country or an underdeveloped country or a transitional economy or whatever may be, every economy need entrepreneurship and innovation as the core approach. And who is going to perform? Individuals are going to perform. And if you will only go for a job, and if you will not play the role of a job creator, and if you will not create the wealth, if you will not utilize the waste, if you will not convert the ideal resources into the useful resource, then actually it is the same to the human being. Because human beings are the best creature of the world, and God has created us to create better things, not to destroy something. And if we will do the normal conventional things, then I think we are not justifying our role as a human being. That's why, and we have this quality of entrepreneurship, because human race has been thrived since long years. And the reason of thrive is that we are innovative, we have the ability to perform entrepreneurially. That's why things. And there we have lost the root. Actually, we have forgot that we have this potential and we can do better, because the system, the education system or the environment where we are working, maybe it is not encouraging. That's why our innovation entrepreneurship potential we have forget. So what we have to do, we have to discover that, and we have to say that how our role will contribute to your village, your town, your individual, your household, your state, your nation, so that your nation will be competitive and whole global economy will grow. And that is where our students play the role, because you are spending your formative years. And during this period only you learn, you de-learn, you unlearn, you relearn, and also you have enough space to do something without taking much risk, because you have nothing to lose. You are just now in a stage of learning, so you will nothing lose. So you can definitely, you can find certain time, you can do the things, but this culture has not been evolved, has been not imbibed. That's why our government is helping, so that we will build this culture, so that our incubation, our institutions, our educational institutions will engage our young minds, creatives in this process. They will align their mindsets with the nation building process, with the economic development. And when I say economic development, it is not always money, it is also environment, it is always also people, it's also the social development. So your role as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, is to achieve the sustainability of the nature, so that future generation will get enough resources to thrive and to for their livelihood. And this is the way our mind has to be refined, and our institution has to play that enabler role. Government and other ecosystem enablers has to come and support this. Then only the 2 years you will acquire all kind of skill set and the mindset, and you will come as a job creator rather than the job seeker. And this is what government is trying through so many policy initiatives like Institutions Innovation Council, and through networking system we are trying to provide an opportunity to our students, so that first they will understand, because it is entrepreneurship is full of jargons, and you will not digest the jargons in the one go. And to understand this terminology, you have to attend this kind of programs on repeatedly, and multiple events you have to go through. Then only you will understand bit by bit, and you will understand the actual meaning of innovation and entrepreneurship, and definitely that will help you to choose entrepreneurship as an alternative career option. And to make it happen, our institution has to conduct this kind of events, and they have to provide lots of incentives and encouragements, rewards, recognitions to both faculties, those engaged, and the students, those are the direct beneficiaries, and engaging the startups, so that the culture, the mindset, the experience will directly percolate down to the student and the institutions. And this is what government is trying.
Excellent, excellent. Friends, Chanakya in his Arthashastra says, Uttanasya Moolam Udyogam, right? So we basically means, right, entrepreneurship is probably the best way to get the right economy, right? That's what he says. We as a society, we were always aspirational. In India, building a venture or earning wealth was never a bad thing, right? So in fact, Lakshmi is one of our goddess, right? So we always respected entrepreneurs, right? We were always an aspirational society, even in our darkest moments. In fact, today, he spoke about job creation and job seeking, right? I always say this, right? If you get an MNC job, if you get a 15-20 lakhs job as freshers, your lifestyle will change. Probably you will drive a better car, you may drive a better bike, right? You may buy a better house, etc., etc. There it ends. But become an entrepreneur, it's a life-changing experience, right? So you will not only change your life, but you will also change the life of a lot of people around you, and probably that's a difference between your copter and a normal car, right? So let me ask a question to Pratik, right? Who is also a management graduate like you all, right? Pratik, I have one question to you, right? What is that management colleges should do, right? One of the challenge that we see in India is most of the entrepreneurs are technologists or engineers, right? I'm proud of being a technology guy, that's what I'm saying. But why do management graduates don't take up entrepreneurship, and what do you think institutions or the curriculum should do to change that? And he's a TEDx speaker, so he should motivate some of you too. He has the responsibility to get more hands up by the end of this session.
Okay. So firstly, even I'm a technology, so I did my BTech just like everyone. I did my MBA just like everyone. I did join a corporate after that, just like everyone. But then in all of this journey, so I can share my journey, like what was the thing that always motivated me or stopped me, right? So back in my college, at that point of time, I did start a small venture. It was something small, nothing big. It was just something where you could get services for an electrician or a repairman for your laptop, everything online. Did I complete it? Did I continue with it? No. I left it. That particular startup, right? Today, some of you all might know it. It's not that well known, but I think it's called Urban Company. It was not my this thing that I continued with it. But the idea, it was everything we created it at that point. But did we continue with it? No. Because the focus was, I don't think I have it in me. Like, who am I? Like, I didn't even dream at that point of time that it can become something big. It was just some idea, something, let's start with it and then continue it. Okay, exams are coming, placements are coming now. That's more important. This is just a small idea. Where will I go with it? Start for placements, join the corporate. And then after that, what happened? I was in a Fortune 500 company. Did I enjoy it that much? No. That particular dream was always there. Okay, I'm doing the daily job, I'm doing daily things, but is it something that is really within me? And thereafter, after losing all those years coming into startups, you can already stop all those years, right? 5, 8 years of taking the cycle, joining a corporate, joining something, build something on your own, try and see it. I think the most important thing, so to answer the question, if I had to answer it in one word, is a self-belief. That if you have that self-belief, yes, this might not be that it turns something big, but at least it will turn something that I'm proud of and continue with it. I think that is something that is more than enough to take it forward. And how will institutions and colleges and other ecosystems, so just like Techstars, just like how Sir is building, the government is building all these institutions, right? These ecosystems. How will they help you? They will not help you if you plan to just rely on them completely. That, yes, some incubator will come and give me funding. Some incubator will come and teach me how I should take forward the steps. No, that will not work. All the initiatives that the government is doing, that the incubators are doing, it will just fail if you yourself don't have that initiativeness to go ahead and take it. So it has to be a combination of both, the ecosystem, which is already getting built up slowly, and along with it, your own initiativeness and the self-belief that, yes, if you have an idea, what's stopping you today? There's like, if you can name anything that's stopping, just try and give me names, what's stopping. Let's try and see.
Yeah, please give us the reason why, what prevents you from starting, right? Just raise your hands and give me the reasons why you are not starting up. Anything. Financial support, okay?
Okay.
Pardon me? Risky, okay? Guidance, okay? Fear of failure, okay? No innovative ideas. Okay, you are not able to innovate, is the right way to ask that. Next. Self-doubt, he did mention it, right? Good, very good.
Okay. We'll cover one by one, each one.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Regular income, okay, that's
financial
financial stability.
Okay.
Financial security.
Right. Okay. So if you take the first one, right, the financial security, and I hope I'm not extending.
No, it's okay, it's okay. This is
guidance,
okay.
yes.
Guidance.
Correct. So the first thing, the financial stability.
I think what we will do is, okay, because you guys have come out with this, probably all the panelists, before one second, right? I just want to get Raghutam into this. Probably we can take up each of these points and have a discussion. That's I hope you guys are okay. Sir, welcome. Raghutam sir, welcome. And great to have you here. As we are
good morning. Good morning. I hope I'm audible.
You are. There is a slight delay. Probably you should speak slowly, right? So
okay.
That's the only way it will get synced, right? So we are very happy to have you here. Sir, it will really help if you can give us some quick introduction to what's happening in GDC and what are the things that you guys are doing to involve students in the whole ecosystem.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. And I apologize for not being in person because I could not come to Bangalore today. I had to be in Chennai in the afternoon, so I apologize for that. I think my image is seen like a ghost, but trust me, I'm a little better looking than that, slowly. So GDC stands for Gopalakrishnan Deshpande Center. To those who may not know, this is an alumni-funded kind of unique organization, foundation at IIT Madras, whose mission is to work with STEM colleges across India and primarily build capacity to convert lab ideas, STEM research into deep tech startups. So we focus on a very select set of startups. That's our mission, and that's what the founders think is missing. So we work on campuses, that's for sure. I mean, among other places, that's our primary place we work on. We have, I think, as Dr. Sahu said, 4,000 STEM colleges and other technical colleges. So we have only touched 65 colleges and incubators so far. So we have, I don't know, less than 0.1% or something like that, very small number we have touched. We have a long way to go. Now, I'd like to make one point here. We should think of three things. There's something called invention in science, there's something called innovation, and there's something called enterprise. And I'd like people to think about the three in different. Invention can also be an idea. It doesn't have to be a science-based one, but it can be an idea. But that's not an innovation. An invention or an idea that does not solve a problem in real life is not an innovation. It should give a benefit to somebody, right? And that's only then it can qualify. It still is not a startup or an enterprise. You still need to go out, get customers to pay money, buy it, use it, have partners to deliver, and then scale. Only then you have an enterprise. So you have two jumps, at least two jumps, to move from an idea or an invention to reach a startup. So that's one thing. The second thing I'd like to make a point is, at least the way we see it at GDC and campuses is, entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur is different from being entrepreneurial. The two are very different points. And I'd like to draw attention to that. Everybody doesn't have to be an entrepreneur. I mean, with apologies if that's the policy and the intention of the session, but you don't have to be an entrepreneur. If you're entrepreneurial, you're fantastic. So you can join a job, a large company, and be entrepreneurial. And that's just as good. It's just a different setting, right? So if Google is an entrepreneurial company, you have thousands of entrepreneurs. I mean, there's a word to use for them. That's fine. But that's just as challenging, and the skill sets are very similar. So it's about your risk-taking ability. I think I heard the students say, we can't take risks. We have financial, things to worry about. And I think those are very good points. So it's perfectly all right if you join a job, learn on the job, learn how organizations work, understand what being entrepreneurial is, learning on somebody else's time and money, great thing to do. And when your calling comes, jump in and start. And when the conditions are right. Entrepreneurship is a high-risk game. 99% failure when you start. So you have to be irrational to start. Let me put it this way. Entrepreneurship is an irrational decision, right? Fundamentally, the odds are against you. So unless you have a reason other than making money, unless you have a passion and a calling, you can't sleep at night because you have to get it going. Only then, you should jump into entrepreneurship and push for it. And so these are some things that we talk about. So we work with faculty at colleges. We have to work with faculty. And faculty are not entrepreneurs. They are 50-year-old professors with 30-year-old, 25 years of research experience. But we definitely say, become entrepreneurial. And I think a faculty who's entrepreneurial can light 1,000 fires in a classroom. I think their leverage is much more than what we can do. And I think that's how we spread entrepreneurial culture in an enterprise. So I'll stop with these 3-4 ideas, and I hope that answers the question the chair asked, what is it that we are trying to do on campuses?
Sir, our whole point is, if you are entrepreneurial, why don't you become an entrepreneur? Is by this one, right? So, just to tell you, Manasa ma'am was an entrepreneur, and I met quite a few of them who are entrepreneurs before becoming teachers, and which is a good trend that's happening in India. Now with that introduction, let's get to some of the questions that you asked, right? So let's start with the risk, right? So this is the biggest concern. They see it as a risk, and they still think it's a risk.
Yes.
What do you think incubators are doing?
I will come to 2 points because I got answer from here. I think you said finance, and Madam mentioned about the risk, right?
Risk.
So I just want to correlate. And also you mentioned about the innovative idea. So it is easy to list out n number of things, right? Because of this, because of that, because of that. But I will say you can't generalize because it is specifics to you, right? So it is easy to tell that I have 20 problems, 30 problems. That second is the difficult task is to prioritize the things. Which one you should focus first, or which one you have to start, and which one is the second and third. So far you will not able to prioritize, you will never able to start the activity. There are so many things, and startup has given that lean startup model, right? So there are so many things. You can start with no resources or very little resources, and as you progress, you will build your competency and your knowledge and information, because all these things has to be go simultaneously. You can't say that it is a linear process. It has to be iterative, and it has to be multiple things. And there you have to start again. You have to consolidate your knowledge and the skill. Again, you have to set another target, and you have to progress. This is the only way. So if you will start with that, there is no finance, then I think you will not able to start. You have to remove this myth from your mind. And first thing is that when you are saying finance, I assume, as an external person, I assume you must have an idea. So do you have idea? Do you have worked out the opportunities? Have you worked out the market viability? Have you done and interacted with any customer? And have you explored any options and you failed? After doing these 5 things only, if you fail, then the answer of finance should come. If you have not done this, then telling the finance at the beginning, I think we are carried away with the notion of the what other thing. It is not our notion. We have not given that much of efforts because idea is yours, vision is yours, approach is yours, resource you have to mobilize, but you are carried away with other notions, other ideas. So these things we have to stop, these things we have to break. And similarly, coming to the risk part, definitely startup has a risky component, but it is not at all the risk. When the risk is combined with logic, with research, with information, then the risk become an unknown risk, become a known risk. And when it is known, you must have the plan A, B, C to address that risk. That means, like so far you are not aware with what is the disease, it is very difficult, you get fear. But once you goes to the doctor, when doctor says this is the disease, you are 50% cure. So similarly, when the risk is unknown, it is very, very difficult. It is a kind of a fear. And once you know, once you back with the logic and approach, then 50-60% is done. You have to just plan how to mitigate that risk, how to deal that risk, and how to move forward. Ultimate goal is you have to cross that risk and you have to go forward, right? So this is the way you have to manage. And at the college level, at the study level, I think risk is very, very minimal. It is called, you have nothing to lose because your parents has given money, you have taken study loan, you have food, mentors are here, and you have to just find a time. So if you are not able to find a time for that, then I think it is you are not good at the time management. You have to find a time, you have to discover the self-interest, what you want to become, that you want to become a job seeker or a job creator, then I think definitely you will get enough time and resources, and you have this minimum ability to mobilize the resources. If incubation unit is there, definitely you should go there, you should discuss your idea, and you should say that this idea's validity is there or not, customer is interested or not. Then only you start spending your resources. Then you try to find some financial access. If you're not getting, then telling it is risky, it is financial, it is this, it is that everybody will listen.
Excellent. Pratik, you want to take up some of this stuff? Just a second, this one, right? So, Deepan spoke about risk mitigation. I always say that entrepreneurs just know 2 things, right? How to ignore the risk knowingly, and how to mitigate some of those risks. The advantage, the point that he has mentioned at least 3 times, saying that college is the best place to start up, is also associated the fact that lot of risk that you want to mitigate can be mitigated here. If you don't have an innovation, you can go and find someone who is quite innovative, right? Who may not be as aggressive as you in terms of taking it to the market, right? You want a team, you will find it here. You need validation, you will find it here. And your expenses are extremely low here. And there is enough support in most of the institutes we have, right? I have invested in 26 startups in last 1 year. I mean, most of the time, we go after students who are in their 6th sem. Before they get to the 8th sem, they will have a term sheet. Guys, decide whether you want to go and take a 7 lakh offer or you want to build a company which is worth 70 crore before even you pass out of the institution. And that is possible today, right? In fact, your chances of building a unicorn exponentially reduces once you leave this college. That's what I want to tell, right? Please listen to that. If you want to mitigate the risk, if you want to build something right, it is today, right?
Just missed a few points.
Right.
See, when we say entrepreneurship, it is always interdisciplinary and across the sector.
Exactly.
Don't think that an entrepreneurship innovation is only for engineering graduates. And I think if you will see the founders profile, the startups we have, more than 40% of founders have an MBA qualification. And I think when you are studying in MBA, and especially like this reputed institute, first thing is that your peer, your friend, your junior and senior and alumni, they are the biggest asset for you. Because you can share, you can come up with idea. Second thing is when working in such a group of institutions, there is a high chance to reach out to the other departments and collaborate. And the fundamental of interdisciplinary and across the sector, that thing you have to achieve here itself. And that's why the chances, if you will put little effort, the chances of become an entrepreneur will be high compared to the once you will graduate, because for everything you have to pay once you will graduate from here, and it is very, very difficult because you have to reach there. Because here you can do in your hostel, in your library, or just in the cafe. That is the benefit, that is the beauty.
Definitely. And I think the risk factor is definitely something that is very much there. And as Deepak also said that in college, compared to any other place, you have less risk. Let's also summarize, like, what are the risks, right? The biggest risk is that I'll spend my time in this project, this idea, and I might miss out on the job. That might be the biggest risk, which is also the job, which is also about financial stability and finances, etc. Now, if we distill it down, do we think that if we are applying for a particular role and we mention over there that for the last 6 months I had been working on an idea, I did my work, I did do the due diligence, do the market research, I did interview the customers, I did create a prototype, I did do all these things. Unfortunately, I couldn't find something, or if it doesn't work out. And if it works out, then you're not in the job interview itself, right? You're in the VC interview, you're talking to investors. So at that point of time, in the particular job, do you think that an employer is not going to be happy or not going to be welcoming this particular fact that you've been working on an idea and you've been working on something for the last 6 months and you've done the work and the particular, all the customer, everything that's needed? There's very less likelihood. So then, if we put the logic, right, what is the risk in that? What is the risk that you have when you're at a university? And as Deepak also mentioned, that you have all the alumni, you have different networks. In your startup journey, if you have to also distill down a particular startup's journey, right, like you need the first phase of idea validation, and you need to see, I have this idea, is it solving a problem? I need to validate that first. If you have a problem validated, is it that the solution that I have, is it validated? You then have a problem and a solution fit. Thereafter, you go and create a product. You find the market, and then go and find the product and the market fit. And that's when you also get the first paying customers. So all of these things, does it take resources? Like, what resources does it need? If you have an idea which is probably online right now, you need a landing page, you need website, you need an app. How much resources does it take to build something? How much resources does it take to market something? If you know both and you have the resources, then probably there's nothing that's stopping you. What's the problem is not the resources. The problem is the resourcefulness. how do I use these resources which are there at the university, which are there already present? How do I use them?
20 minutes.
And I think, and I think that's something that in this session, at least, like if we try and distill out that you walk out of the room and become and see that, yes, I have these resources with me. I have the incubator. I have everything. How can I use these resources and become resourcefulness and actually go out and work on my idea? I think that would be something that is indeed a takeaway.
See, Pratik, see, there are two things, right? I run a fund where we invest in student startups at the idea stage, right? So I thought when I started this, I thought there is no one else who will do this, right? Student startups at the idea stage. But today there are at least 6 funds who are focusing on that area, right? Just to want to tell you, if you do all the hard work that Pratik is talking about, there are enough finances that are available, right? With this, I just want to go back to Raghuttam sir. Sir, I mean, you have heard some of the challenges that they are talking about, etc. One of the challenges that mentioned was, especially in the management colleges, is I don't have innovative ideas, right? So, I mean, you work with the deep tech companies, and here are the challenges in terms of lack of innovative ideas. Sir, how do you bridge this gap? What do you suggest management graduates to get into in terms of entrepreneurship?
There are two things. Some great ideas have been spoken here, by the other speakers. So I agree with the fact that college is a great experimental and learning arena for you to, hone your entrepreneurial instincts. So where do you get good ideas? Where do you get good ideas is in the real world. Look around. Go to a railway station. Figure out what's happening. Go to a hospital. Figure out what's happening. Go to the traffic junction. Figure out what's happening. There is no dearth of problems. A country like ours has so many challenges from drinking water. Not one city has solved drinking water problem. Only 30% of our sewage is treated. There are 2 crore blind people in this country. I mean, I can go on and on. There's so many problems to solve. The question is, what are problems worth solving? So I think what Mr. Pratik said before me is you need to think about real life problems. Deep tech problems actually come from something else. In fact, they come with a disadvantage. They come with a solution first and then they go around looking for a problem. That's a converse of the situation. Whereas if you are actually getting to be an entrepreneur, look for problems around you and they're there if you keep your mind open. And then the question is really figuring out which ones are you passionate about and which ones are worth solving in terms of building a startup and making money. So get the confluence of the 3. Your passion, the problem should be big enough, and 3, it should make money. It should be sustainable, right? So get that confluence, and that's what you need to train yourself to do. And that's cheap to do. That's not expensive. That doesn't take resources. And that is de-risking it. So when you're saying, here is a problem worth solving, you're actually de-risking it. The biggest problem for startups actually is what most people don't understand. It is customer risk. 95% startups fail because they have no paying customers. Not technology risk, not because you can't make the product, not because you can't. It's because there are no customers. You're solving imaginary problems. So these are things that you can learn sitting on campus, talking to more, Mr. Sau spoke about alumni or seniors or faculty or others. So there's lots of things that you can run these with. And if you kind of pass 2 or 3 filters with a problem that you think is worth solving and is interesting, build on it further, assemble a couple of people who are like-minded in pursuit but come with unlike skills. I like that idea of having unlike minds working together. That's the best chance for a founding team. All of these doesn't require resources. This needs enterprise, this needs time, this needs your will. Money comes later.
Okay.
I think all of these can be done on campus.
Right. Thanks a lot. I also want to add one more thing. A lot of faculties are here. I think there is a great opportunity in looking at entrepreneurship to fund your research, right? If you are picking up any of the research problems, right? And even from the students' perspective, scholarship. I'm a strong believer that entrepreneurship can fund scholarships and researchers in the institute, right? So, any questions, ma'am?
Completed 2 days college fest perception, And in the marketing event, we had one round where they had to come up with an innovative idea overnight. So it was an overnight task, and there are two ideas which I would like to mention here. One related to cigarette butts. The student came up with the idea that the cigarette butts is not made up of cotton. It's a different fiber that need to be recycled, could be converted into the product. And in overnight, that was a fantastic idea. And the second idea, what they say is because of the sustainability, because we have given them the theme, they says that whenever a delivery person comes, there is a lot of waste that we generate. So we will come up with a starter. They had their product, talking about the service part of it, making it shorter. They said that we will give 2% extra discount if the customer return the packaging product there and then to the delivery guy, so that the supply chain also utilized for the reverse logistics. The third thing, as rightly the professor also said, real life problem. The third, which was not very common thought, very regular, but the student said that when I was coming, I found lots of wastage. And they want to come up with an organic manure. I said that government is anyway doing it. They had so clear idea. They said that we want to have our delivery vans who will collect the segregated waste, which is the kitchen waste from hostels, and if specific, they could relate to their life, the neighborhood. We will convert it into the manure, and that's what we will sell online. So there are very good ideas, and my question and support system which I want as a faculty is, these are the students who were outside the institutions who participated. How should we take it forward? How can we involve them? Because, they are the students, they go back. The idea is killed. Like you said, the idea was generated, Urban Club came afterwards. So we wanted to see a closure to have a startup. This closure means the idea to be converted into the startup. Need your thoughts.
I want Deepan to say, right, what are the kind of good practices that you have in academics to address this opportunity?
The first question we should ask as a faculty or as an institute, and I think panel already mentioned so many times, that every idea should be supported, or only the idea which is worth to support to be supported. Both are different. If you have no ecosystem, you are just starting, maybe you think for the first step, the first one. If you are already a well-established startup, you should not think for the first one. You should go for the second. It depends. That's why I can't tell the right things. But if Ramya Institute say that they have already a well-established startup, every year they're producing 5, 10, 20 startups, and their incubation unit is tough and well-planned and competitive, and they have enough resources, and they want actually real good innovations to come up and the startups to come up, and there are enough potential entrepreneurs are there, then it should be a competitive process. Those will survive, those will reach to that level, that should support it. If you are arts and science college and nothing has been there and nobody knows what's about innovation startup and anything, and you want just to make them aware, just to trigger, just to think about it, then you should go with every idea. You just conduct the event, at least you support, provide some incentive in terms of even not the financial, at least some non-financial way, some interaction, some connection, some certificates, so that at least they will continue it. But let me tell you, when it is your baby means when a person conceive any idea, it is his or her responsibility to make it thrive. It's not yours. Like, it's mother's responsibility to feed the child and nurture them and go. So if you are not, so you are asking me question that a mother will give birth and put in abandon and somebody will go and do it. No doubt, that option is there, but we can't take care of everybody like this. Am I right? Are you agree with this? You have to see, already nature has so many principles. We have to just correlate. You will find the best strategy to deal with. I hope I have answered.
Can I add something to that? I think those are some wonderful points, and which probably also answers your question. Has anyone, or how many of you all have heard the story of Masayoshi Son, the SoftBank founder? Anyone? So SoftBank is one of the world's leading funds currently, and he's also famous for his 10 minutes and 100 billion, which he generated as fund raise from Dubai's Emirates. So how did he start, right? What was his journey? It's a short story, but I think it's very relevant to these points and the question over here. So he was back in Harvard, and at that point as a teenager in college. And while he was studying over there, he was in debt because he had just moved from Japan to US. And because of his debt, so he obviously the motivation was to, how can I generate money? How can I generate finances? And he found that one of the best ways is entrepreneurship, that perhaps I need to find an idea, I need to create something, and then I need to generate wealth from it because it will create value for others. So what did he do? On the first day, he comes to his hostel, he sits on his chair, he sits like this, and he says, idea, come, idea, come, idea, come. Of course, this is an exaggeration, but the point is that he sits over there for every day, 30 minutes, for the next 100 days, lists down every single problem that he's seeing, lists down every single idea that's coming up in his mind. And this is something he did it. He has a notebook also, which you can go on YouTube and see he's said this whole incident. After 100 days, he sees and evaluates those ideas, which Professor had also mentioned, that you come and see which idea is worth investing. Evaluates those ideas and sees which of these ideas can generate the most value for people, and ultimately also which can generate more monetary value for me. Goes ahead and spends the next 1 year in building it, and probably 1 year, 2 years down the line, he sells it for $1 million. And that's what led the journey of SoftBank. And thereafter he went and invested. So the whole idea is that when you coming and seeing the problems, etc., don't jump into it immediately. Don't also lay back and don't do nothing. Write them down, put them into a process of evaluation, just as VCs also do, as incubators also do, right? They evaluate startups, which is worth funding and which is not. All the metrics are there. What education institutes can do is give this frameworks. We use at Techstars, we have frameworks which are there. There's a laid out process, there's a problem evaluation process, there's a framework for that. Share it with the students, share it with everyone, so that they know how to evaluate ideas. Now that's something which education institutes need to do. How do you evaluate the ideas? The work will be done by the students and the faculty on evaluating the ideas.
So in a nutshell, answer to your question, you can approach both the strategy, but one thing you can do, you conduct certain design thinking workshops for these people and help them to prioritize, to refine further, and to see the customer that finally for whom you are developing a solution. You are not developing for yourself. This is for somebody's problem. If so far you will not connect who is that person for whom you are solving and what is the what is the size of that customer, then I think differentiating the big problem, good idea, bad idea, that thing that student should know first. And he should know how to evaluate that. You can facilitate that, conducting design thinking workshop. And after that, again to come back with what the things and ask them to do some homework. Simply spoon feeding is not going to help. No doubt. You should not let them, their ideas to die. But our role is as a facilitator, but we should not spoon feed them.
Any other questions? I think, please, sir.
I'm Dr. Nandish from Professor from Indus Business Academy. I have one question based on that. If you look into UGC, AICTE and CII data, out of 4.5 lakh MBA or PGDM graduates roll out every year, hardly 1 or 1.5% will take the journey of the entrepreneurship. If you look into any of the best school in the country, including IIMs, they basically say higher CTC is basically a trump point to sell or enroll the students for admissions. But we never make an effort, conscious and a kind of a consolidated efforts to create this entrepreneurial mindset and do. How exactly we can modify? I think Deepan or any one of you can throw a light how to make the students to build up that entrepreneurial mindset in the very beginning. Instead of looking at a placement offer, can we look at a company to walk out at the end of the 2 years? I think that ecosystem, probably Deepan, because you have seen the entire national ecosystem, you can throw light. Of course, others can do a value.
Identified and also well mentioned. But actually, this is the problem what we are trying to solve, right? Actually, the MBA, just today, morning I was mentioning to Madam Ji that all these programs, MBA, PGDM programs, when it was designed and AICTE started providing approvals, actually the objective was not to create the managers. actually, especially in the IIMs, I'm not talking about normal, in the IIMs, the purpose of starting an MBA program is to create more entrepreneurs. But hardly these graduates, they go and start their company. Generally, they join corporates with a leadership role and they are earning in crores and kind of things. And many IIMs are very much happy in projecting that they have this much of offer kind of things. But actually, that was not the objective. Our role is that how we will create more leaders and more entrepreneurial minds, not the entrepreneurs. If our MBA institutions will able to produce more entrepreneurial minds, and that minds only will come when you will have a series of failures in attempting the innovation and entrepreneurship. I'm not saying from the success. And if somebody is saying that entrepreneurship is a successful venture, then I think it's wrong. Entrepreneurial minds or entrepreneurship is attempting something to solve a bigger problem, and you are making mistakes and failed every time. That is the definition of entrepreneurship. And if your institute or if any MBA institute will able to provide this process, learning process, then I think we are able to achieve the goal objective, what you are saying, in a very short span of time.
Deepanji, one specific question. Do you think AICT will come out with a course on how to manage failures and frustrations as a part of a curriculum?
Okay. See,
I know it is a very broadband question.
See, actually, AICT is also what? AICT, earlier it was established approval unit. Course approval. But now we have moved from a approval to a facilitator, right? We are trying to do all these kind of things. For what? Because we observe that certain things are there which needs to be streamlined. And that's why this MBA IAV course, what you are doing, that objective is create the job creators. It is, if somebody is entering that course with aiming that they will get a good CTC, I think your admission process is wrong. You have to only attract the talents, those are aspiring to be entrepreneur, and those are entrepreneur with innovation component. Somebody want to aspire an entrepreneur with no innovation component also should be discouraged to take this course. As a government, we are not discouraging, but because India need both type of entrepreneurs, innovation with entrepreneurship, no innovation with entrepreneurship. Because many SMEs, small and medium enterprises, they are not having much innovation, but they are also part of the economy and they have very important role to play. But for this kind of course, we want, even though it's technical or non-technical, innovation component should be there, and somebody who wants to become entrepreneur, they should come join. And through MBIB program, they will build, they will validate, they will convert, they will develop the business model in the first year, and the second year they should go and start their startup with the incubation support, so that they will go through this whole learning process. Even though they will fail, there is no problem. But through the process will help them, so that whenever they will make a second attempt. Because human being has the nature that once you will go through certain process, once you will develop your interest, then definitely we will go for a second attempt. And startup, and I just take it note, no startup formed with first attempt. Every entrepreneur reached to a startup only after making a second, third, fourth and fifth attempt. Even the Google and Microsoft, whatever may be, nobody has came with the first attempt. They have tried with some other startups or some other ventures, they failed, finally they started this one and it got clicked and they are now successful entrepreneur. So every failure has contribution. So give them scope to do, attempt, fail, and celebrate that failing. Sometimes you discourage the failing. That is the why people stop their idea, they drop their idea. So create a system where you celebrate who made attempts and failed. So that, and also let them share with this failure with others. And that will create the encouragement and motivation among the others to come and do. And when you will set a role model who is big, hey, this person is already gone big, what I will do, how I will do. So they get something I can't do. It's not cup of my tea. So being the role models, those have failed. And role models is one among you only.
Sir, I want to just add one thing, right? I have been an entrepreneur for probably the longest time now. There is one thing, startups can fail, but entrepreneur will never fail, right? Today, a failed entrepreneur is valued lot more even in the job market, right? Gone are the days around 10 years back, if you fail as an entrepreneur, it would have been very, very difficult to find a job. But today, failed entrepreneur, we can get a job at 2x or 3x the salary in any of the companies that I'm talking about, right? The challenge we have in this country is the entrepreneurial mindset, which Deepak was saying. Once you say that I was entrepreneurial, I tried something, I failed, as long as you know the reason why you have failed, your career is secure, right? The risk in terms of career is taken away in this country, right? So all the risks that you are talking about, I can assure you that they are not the risk, right? And I work with around 70 student entrepreneurs, right, building around 26 amazing companies. In fact, one of the points that I always go and talk to girls is, if there is one thing that you should do, just become an entrepreneur, because no one will come to you and ask you to stop working, right, once you become an entrepreneur, right? For girls, this is an amazing opportunity. I don't think you need regulations, I don't think you need extra support. All that is required is, as a lecturer, you should just, whenever someone wants to start a company, motivate him to think big and give him the moral support. And I think rest of the stuff, our students are bright enough to get to wherever they are supposed to get, right? So how much more time we have? 5 minutes, right? So any other questions, right? So okay, any other questions that you guys want to?
There's one important point. I'll just add to that, what Deepan said, that the major thing over here, if we look at the mindset also, right, it's the status problem. What do I mean by that? That when we look at jobs, etc., or when we are looking at everything else, which also the society is putting it, right, outside, this person got a job at Google for X amount, X crores, etc. A lot of status is attached to it.
Prateep, not today. Today, becoming an entrepreneur is probably the best social status any of them can have.
That's the point.
In fact,
that's the point.
Failed entrepreneurs will become social entrepreneurs, which is even a bigger status symbol, right?
Exactly.
I think we're in a times in India, right, wherein entrepreneurship is celebrated by one and all, right? So
that's the point, that right now things are changing right now with the status, right, where we are heading towards, and it's increasing more and more that our role models, everyone is changing towards, especially at university, right? Previously, when we were at university, whom did we idolize and see as role models? Those who are getting X packages, etc. Today, we are seeing all these entrepreneurs who are coming up, doing wonderful things at every stage. So this is something that will bring the mindset shift also.
I just want to give you a quick overview, right? How many of you manage your own stock portfolios here, students? Only one? Please raise your hand. So how many of you manage your own stock portfolios, and how many of you have invested in cryptos? Raise your hands. Sir, I'm telling you, a lot of them, right? So today we are in a different country here, okay? I mean, I just wanted to come back and say that probably those people who are on that side, right, their understanding of entrepreneurship is extremely good. You wanted to say something?
So if I will invite two people, one is only engineering graduate degree and one is engineering graduate with started some venture or did some entrepreneurship. Automatically the respect or the regards will go towards that somebody has done, even though it's failed. So this entrepreneurship is now associated with some positive notion, not a negative. Earlier the word businessman, it was associated with some negative notion. So now entrepreneurship has this positive vibe, right?
Correct.
Second thing is that how many, what is the highest GP or OGPA once secured, something like that last time?
Score.
9 point. So definitely everybody remember who has secured the 9.2 because you have some system. See, in the mass of, in the cohort of 30, 40 or 100, 200, to stay in the limelight or get the status, OGPA is one way, right? To get in the top 10, 5 kind of things. And for that particular student has to work every day, has to study and throughout the semester. Then only he will get that, he or she will get that. And once he will reach that, next semester is challenged to retain that position. Again he will start continue. So this cycle will continue for the 2 years. One bank venture, somebody who is not into that, only getting 6.6 OGPA, and he spent 1 hour every day or 2 hours, 3 hours in every week in identifying a problem and developing a solution and participated in business plan competition, the innovation competition, and got recognized from IIT Madras or IIT Bombay, something like that, or some good government, ministry or state government. Then he will get the limelight. Compared to this 9.2 OGPA is far different. And he may get further into limelight when he will develop some solution and develop a startup. So see,
And our goal also as education institutes or incubators is to put that in limelight.
so it is easy. It is a communication. It is a message to the students. If you want to stay in limelight, if you want to get the status, choose this path. Very easy. Very easy. Only spend 2 hours in every week. You will able to do it. Comparing those are competing for 9.2 and spending 5 hours every day. I think it is far better, far easier. And you will also able to solve a bigger problem. You will get wealth, you will get money, or you will also get a better career.
Right. Kavya, I wanted to say something. That's a very good question, sir. Okay, that directly she's, sir, what will AICTE do to help colleges who wants to help students? No,
so
sir,
it
should.
So it is actually, we have already proposed it, that in the innovation metrics, in the performance metrics of the faculties, those are contributing to coordinating the programs, innovation entrepreneurship programs, especially in the through Innovation Council, and those act as a mentor. Those start the startup and all commercialization, technology transfer. There will be a certain component in the annual performance metrics, so that these activities, these efforts will be counted and contributed towards the promotion. So this is already started, so I can't comment more than this, and maybe it will come very soon.
Sir, can we say that people who build startups here, by default, they'll get a CGPA of 9.0 and above. If they build, if any of them build a startup, right? And let's say go and raise their pre-series A money, some valuation, whatever the metrics, they should be awarded 9.0 and CGPA and above.
It's already in practice. I think it is already in practice. You have not aware about it. In GTU, Gujarat Technical University, they have constituted a gold medal for startups. So those students have achieved this kind of things. In addition to the toppers, there is a gold medal for those who have started this kind of startups, and they have a practice that whoever the chief guest, governor, whenever all these startups, all these innovations should be displayed in a visit of this kind of VIPs. This practice is already there. Just you have to see what the better things you can adopt.
Right. You should. Sir, Raghuta, I'm sorry. I mean, you are missing in action. Sir, okay. I mean, one of the challenge that normally the colleges outside IIT have, right? So, I mean, VCs like me will always look up to IITs and not many other colleges. It's a common problem a lot of these students in the non-IITs and IIMs have, right? Luckily for me, you are also working with a lot of other institutions other than IIT, right? So what differentiate? How do you suggest these guys to compete with the people from your premium institutes?
Point. Right, a very good question. 2 points. First of all, there is no difference. Take it from me. I have studied in an IIT. I have worked with people outside. There's no difference. As far as entrepreneurship is concerned, it's about your passion and about how much work you put in. Right? So this is not a scholastic journey. This is about being in tune with customers. I think Mr. Sahu made the point. Understand who has a problem that you're solving for. And you don't need an IIT degree or IIM degree or Harvard degree for doing that. They have their value. That's fine. I'm not running it down. But I think as far as an entrepreneur is concerned, it's about certain other skills that you bring. The second point I'll make is entrepreneurship can be learned. It's not an inborn chip in your brain that you're born with. As many people think is an inborn entrepreneur. Some people may be born, some people may get it more naturally. But entrepreneurship can be learned. Mark my words, I'm not saying it can be taught, it can be learned. The learning can be facilitated at a college, but not through academic and scholastic learning. So the environment of an incubator, of a college, of the ability and the environment to fail safely and quickly, get up after a failure and learn. All of those are what colleges and the modern policymakers are allowing us to do. And therefore, you need not have any complex about, you're not from A particular college or B particular course, or I'm an arts graduate or engineer. So long as you have the basic passion to solve, the sensitive to needs, and I think you can get along and communicate, I think you're good to go.
Right. I think we can continue, but I think we'll run out of the time. Pratik, final words, right? This one.
Yeah, definitely. At the point about, especially about failure, right, which was also the fear of failure. I think the failure, if we just change the the way we are seeing it, that is it that I tried something and because like Deepak also mentioned, that almost every startup entrepreneur who has built a successful startup has a series of failures behind them. We built the Zerodha of Netherlands, Links. It's the #1 broker. But before that, all of us, the founders, the leadership team, we have had a series of failures. I had 5 unsuccessful ventures before that. Some small ideas tried, including the one in university. So the way we look at failure, if we look at it as a stepping stone, that this was an experience, this is something that I learned and I grow from it, rather than something that has hampered me or stopped me, I think that will take the whole initiativeness and you can move more towards entrepreneurship.
Right. Sir, any final words?
Yeah. So, how many of you have studied B in IT or computer science? Okay. So in software industry, there is a software testing component is there. And there is a principle, golden principle they follow. Start early, do the testing of that application so many times so that there will be no fault during the installation or after the installation. So there will be no risk of data loss. So startup industry has developed a golden principle out of it, and they say, start early, fail fast.
Yeah.
So the sooner you have the idea you have, start working on it, start early, and fail fast. You will definitely get fail. You will never get the success in the first, second, third, fourth, even fifth. And you have to change your ideas also on continuously. And start early and fail fast. Then the second one, institute should encourage and celebrate the failure. So just follow these two, leave the rest to others, and it will be taken care well.
I have a point to make.
Yeah, please, sir. Sir, we are able to hear you.
What Mr. Sadhu said is what GDC has been doing for the last 5 years. We implement the lean startup through customer discovery. 3 teams or 4 teams from MS Ramaya College have gone through us. Ask around. Ask around and you will know what their experience has been. So a startup goes from failure to failure till it succeeds. That's how it is. And I think that's proven by experience. We have worked with about 250 startups for the last 4 years. Not one startup, without exception, not one startup, without exception, has come and not changed its idea. Every one of them have changed, and 1/3 of them said, our idea doesn't work. That's not a failure. We celebrate them. We celebrate them not because make them feel good, but because you have not gone to an incubator, clogged up that place, taken up resources, taken 2 PhDs for 2 years, raised seed money, and wasted everybody's time. You have failed safe and failed fast. You know the reason why it doesn't work. Many of those faculty and researchers have come back and, they teach differently in class. That's how powerfully this program that we've been doing, it's been a great learning for us. And we would wish that the government actually, if that's the belief, Dr. Sahu, please come and see our program and see if you can support this program. Dr. Deshpande and Chris have kind of said, this is, and where does this idea come from? This has come from the National Science Foundation in the US. The US government started this program in 2013. Dr. Deshpande funded it before the NSF jumped in. When Stanford, Berkeley, MIT, colleges like that, routinely convert science to startups and innovations, why can't other colleges do it? So that's how the US government jumped in and developed a program called the I-Core program. The I-Core programs is where we have built our incubate program, and this is exactly what we do. Fail fast. And that's not a failure because that that it doesn't work. And if you can address that fear in that entrepreneur's mind, I think you've solved half the problem. I think it's a great place to learn. Any college and any incubator, go forth.
Sir, you had some point to make quickly.
I'd like to add one point. Rather than a failure, we could use a proof of concept. Rather than a failure, we could use a proof of concept, a lot of emphasis in the startup life cycle, followed by the prototype, and then you get into the actual product. So many startups, especially in a city like Bangalore, 7,000 plus startups, out of 5, 3 fail. Bangalore failure rate of startups outside of the colleges is very high. There's no emphasis on the proof of concept and also on the prototype. The feature-driven development, the point that you're mentioning, it should be at the early stage. So change the features if the acceptance is not there, do a feasibility check and then accordingly go live. That's where many startups and many entrepreneurs miss on this particular aspect and invariably they fail a lot. So that's my input that I have.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir. In fact, we are a fund who says if you have a POC, you are too late for us, right? So we are a slightly different one, so I can't this one. Friends, okay, man, what we heard were a lot of use, some, I'll get back to that, right? So I think as a panel, we either confused you or given you more choices, right? I'm not sure any of us can give you clarity in a short time, considering the amount of options that we have. But I can only tell you one thing, right? All of us agree on one thing. This is the best time, best country to become entrepreneurs, and it's even better for you because you are still in campus, right? That's something which all of us agree, and all of us believe, and all of us are ready to put in our money, effort, time, whatever is possible to help you become entrepreneurs, right? That's the thing that we want to give it to you. Now let's ask again, how many of you really want to try one startup at least? I don't know, I didn't measure, okay. Probably better, that's what we want to hope. Yeah, that you are always there. See, guys, have one metric. You should have more startup ideas than the number of crushes that you have in the campus, right? Have that as a name and do very well, and wish you guys all the very best. And thanks a ton for all my fellow panelists who gave amazing ideas. And thanks a ton. Thanks.
Thank you, panelists. That was an excellent discussion, touching upon various aspects. I mean, it was, you're throwing light on a plethora of aspects related to entrepreneurship. I'm sure all our students have had a very engaging session, touching upon concepts about how to recognize ideas, how do you nurture them, how do you focus on them, what can be the role institutions and faculty members can play. And looking at, not looking at failure as a setback, but as a stepping stone. You start early, you fail early so that you can start again, right? Thank you so much, panelists, for such great involvement in the discussion. And it has been very, very momentous for us to know that this is the right time for us to start off a venture. And here we are now with the right place and the right country. So let's take the best possible use of the opportunity available. Thank you so much, all of you. Now, I think with a lot of discussion and deliberations, we need a slight break. We will break for a quick 5 minutes. There is coffee and tea arranged outside, a bio break and a coffee tea break. We'll be back here by 12:10. It is 12, maybe another 5 to 7 minutes, we will be back. And we'll have yet another engaging discussion with the women power in the audience. I see it is it's a half 50-50 kind of an audience. So we look at all the women entrepreneurs or the budding women entrepreneurs here. Thank you, all of you. Let us meet after a short break. Request all of you to please be here at 12:10 sharp. Dignitaries, please stay back. We will arrange the...
Recording stopped.
Thank you so much.
After a refreshing break, I think all of us are charged up again to hear from the entrepreneurs, from the academic perspective, and also look at what incubators can do to empower and enrich the entrepreneurial perspective here. Request all of you to please settle down so that we can start our next discussion. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. I'm sure we are all charged up now, and we are here to witness yet another discussion about the issues and challenges we have with respect to women entrepreneurs. The second panel constitutes members of the following members: Ms. Savita Reddy, CEO in Lingua; Ms. Priya Suresh, Ms. Priya Suresh, founder Culture Place; Ms. Kavya Rajendran, founder the CA Cafe and co-founder Cypher; Dr. Manasanaga Bhushanam, Director, Academic Research and Administration, Ramya Institute of Management. And the panel will be moderated by Dr. Triveni P., Associate Professor and HODA, Department of Finance and BFSI. Request the panelists to please grace the dais. Women are a source of great power, strength, stamina. Focus naturally comes to us. We are empowered with a lot of inherent natural energy. It's just that there is a need for channelizing it in the right direction. We have a panel here of women entrepreneurs who have been through this journey of entrepreneurship, seen the ups and downs, and here they are here to discuss the various issues and challenges you could have in the field of women entrepreneurship. May I request Professor Jeevita to introduce our panel members to the audience.
Thank you, Professor Yashaswini. World history is filled with women pioneers who made progress in various fields. We have women amongst us, but who have not just dreamed of success, but have worked for it and achieved it. I feel privileged to introduce all the panel members. First, I would like to introduce Savita Reddy. Savita Reddy has a master's degree in business administration from Mount Carmel Institute of Management and passed out in the year 2000. Specialized in finance and information system. Prior to MBA, she is a graduate in business management from NMRV, passing out in the year 1998. She is currently the CEO of Inlingua, Bangalore. She started Inlingua in Bangalore in the year 2005 and has been successfully managing the business for the last 15 years. Growing it has one of the top language training schools in India. Inlingua offers training in English, French, German, Spanish, and many other languages. She has 2 offices in Bangalore and a team of 60 members. She also offers foreign language training to students across India through online training platform and virtual classrooms. She recently found another venture called Language Station, where she is connecting all the language learners, language speakers across the globe and helping them to learn languages. Next, I would like to introduce Ms. Priya Suresh. Priya Suresh is a passionate entrepreneur who has converted her challenge as a mother into a business opportunity. Priya runs Cultural Place, delivering expert curated learning experiences in arts, life skills, practical applications of science. Priya also heads digital growth for Just Books, a service promoting reading amongst Indians. Under her leadership, Just Books digital business has grown more than 5 times in 2 years, while Cultural Place has become profitable within an year. An engineer from Bangalore, she balanced her work while being a housewife and her passion for reading and Indian architecture. Our next panel member, Kavya Rajendran. She is a chartered accountant by qualification and an entrepreneur at her heart. Her first steps in the industry started off in her father's manufacturing business, Varam Group, and has mentored her and continues to inspire in her entrepreneurial journey. A CA Cafe is a podcast dedicated to CA students and professionals. The CA Cafe differs by actually mapping, connecting relevant business news to the student syllabus, thereby helping the students to abreast of all the syllabus through the lens of day-to-day news. SciFood is a basket of home care and auto care products that enable, sustain, and maintain, give longevity to all things around us. So Kavya's everyday status manages creativity and music, always saves the day. She is very right brain person prior to the business. She was a freelancer event organizer during her stay in the US under the banner Idea Bug for You. Kavya's life has a constant thread of spirituality and is regular in her daily practices of yoga, breathing exercise, and meditation. Next, I would like to welcome our director and also a successful entrepreneur, Dr. Manasanaga Bhushanam. Dr. Manasanaga Bhushanam is an academician, writer, consultant, and a researcher. She is formerly the director of Center of Education and Social Studies, Bangalore. She has been a professor in management who has served as a director or dean at various business schools in Bangalore. She carried out various research projects for government and business organizations. She has set up, analyzed research solutions in 2011 and successfully worked on several research assignments like Moksh Agabatis, Infotrack Telematics, Meritrack, Neon Technologies, Fibras, Banjara Fruits, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Karnataka Knowledge Commission, and Youth for Seva, and has supported several startups for their market entry. She has published several articles in newspapers in both English and Kannada. Also has published papers in national and international journals. She is a doctoral guide for University of Mysore and VTU. Several scholars has been completed PhD under her guidance. She has served as a syndicate member of Bangalore University and currently an executive council member of Central University of Karnataka and Center for Education and Social Studies. She is a member of subcommittee on curriculum for the task force for the implementation of national education policy in Karnataka. On behalf of Ramaya Institute of Management, I welcome all the panel members. Moving on, it's time to introduce today's moderator for this panel discussion, Dr. Triveni P. Dr. Triveni P. heads Department of Finance and BFSI at Ramaya Institute of Management. She has over 2 decades of experience with 3 years of corporate experience and transitioned her career towards her passion of teaching. Her innovative approaches in teaching finance are commendable. As a research head, she has organized national and international conferences, FDPs, MDPs, and research workshops. Her deep knowledge through extensive research work done across multiple research projects with corporate nominated her as a nodal officer representing the Institute for the Government of Karnataka, IT and BT departments. She has presented papers at national and international conferences and also published several papers in peer-reviewed journal. She is a certified accredited management teacher by All India Management Association. She is also a board member of government. She is a board of governance at the institute, has a certified advanced NLP master practitioner, trainer, life coach, and certified pranic healer. She has trained corporates, entrepreneurs, and faculty on NLP. Recipient of National Builder Award 2017, awarded by All India Bhavasagar Kshatriya Mahasamaj for her dedicated service as an educationalist for 20 years, and also a recipient of We Lead Women Achievers Award in 2018, has Award of Excellence Education for the year 2017 and 18. I request Dr. Triveni P to take over.
Thank you, Jivita. Good afternoon, all. The same Josh is not there what we had in the morning. Good afternoon. That's nice. So we see a combination of, there's a different gender bias here, but anyway, how many women here are aspiring to be entrepreneurs? Yes, that's nice. Just a few. How many faculties here are aspiring to be entrepreneurs? Yes, that's very nice. But being an entrepreneur, you know, is not that easy. You should be ready to gather in the resources that's required, bear the risk, look at other opportunities that is there awaiting for you. We are here to discuss today about what exactly is a woman entrepreneur's role and what are the various issues and challenges that women entrepreneurs are going to face or have faced, have come across. To discuss this, we have very experienced and very senior entrepreneurs here with us who will be sharing their experiences with us. Definitely, I would like to start off the discussion initially to understand what exactly motivated our entrepreneurs here to get into an entrepreneurial journey. I would like to start off first with Savita. Savita, what really made you to get into entrepreneurial journey?
So what really made me start up? It's always been a childhood dream for me. It's like every time a question comes up, what do you want to be when you grow up? There are many options. Like any others, I always wanted to be like an IAS officer or an IPS officer or a journalist. Then I would keep thinking, it's like there is a limit to what you can achieve in those roles. And I've always been a person who believes in dream big. It's like the universe is abundant, right? You don't go to an ocean with a spoon or a tumbler. It's like you go with a bigger ask. And what you ask is what you get. So, very soon I realized it's like business is something which is like there is no end to it, what you can create. It's like that creativity and innovation. It's like a blank space. You can paint whatever you want. Look at what Elon Musk is doing or Steve Jobs is doing. There is no end to what can be created. So that fascinated me, and it's always been a dream. So after I took up BBM management in degree and then MBA, and then after MBA without any corporate experience, didn't know what to start off. But then when you're prepared, some of the idea comes, and that's where I started, and till today, no looking back. And I'm very happy with the journey. It's a life-changing experience, and I'm glad I did it.
That's nice. And we know Priya, we have heard about Priya. Just now Jivita was introducing, Professor Jivita said that she was a mother with some challenges, which really was a eye-opener for her to start a startup. So what really made you think about having this entrepreneurial journey or start off this company which would attract many people towards you?
Good morning, all of you. So I'm very happy to be on the stage. So, entrepreneurship was not by chance or choice for me in the beginning. So I was a technical graduate and also a mother of two, and we are in a joint family. So there was no option, We had a moral support, and entrepreneurship is the one thing that women can choose. So they'll have time limit for that, and they can use their, time and use their passion. If you have an idea, you can just go ahead with entrepreneurship. So for me, I wanted to create a platform wherein every skill is available to all, either online or offline. Because if you want your kids to learn something new, see, academics is always there in the school, right? So alternate learnings is very few in our city or probably in India. So for that, to encourage that, so that if your kid may be good in sports or they may be good in music, they might, come up with the same career. So for that, I had faced challenges in that. To get my kids, learn skills. For that, that made me to, why not I create that platform, both online and offline. So we have tied up with Just Books, wherein we were conducting a lot of offline sessions. Probably we have done more than 1,000 sessions till date. So the response is really good. And in the beginning, I had faced challenges to get in the participants, because you don't know, what is the, skill there and how do they deliver and who are the trainers. So this is the question we daily come up with the parents. So we have, solved this issue, and we have partnered with the best in the industry, and it's been going on really good, and I love this career, this passion to be an entrepreneur. It's really good for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Priya. And Kavya, I know, as a chartered accountant, getting into CA and clearing a CA itself is a bigger task. And after clearing CA, look at her life journey, which has come into something else. She's into CA Cafe as an entrepreneur. So what really motivated you to start this without looking back into your career as a chartered accountant?
Actually, Triveni, I'm going to answer this question in the same note as you have started. I look back to my CA internship days at Ernst & Young. I was literally living in a pressure cooker of a workplace. It was crazy. And amidst that, turmoil of, the black and white work that I was doing every day, I only found some solace in some colors of creativity when I could do something different about some presentations, when I could do to clients or give some out-of-the-box trainings for my team. So that's when I thought, yes, this day-to-day, these kind of numbers job is not something for me. I have to work around it, but in a different way, in a creative way, present it in a more useful way. I have to see what I have to figure out. That's when the thoughts of CA Cafe came into my mind, pretty much then. So I want to ask a question to you students here. Answer me honestly, how many of you read financial news? Business Standard, Financial Express, anything? Okay, I see one. Okay, I see just one. All right. So that's the gap CA Cafe actually fills. Now, reading newspapers is very important. For students, it's all the more important. But do you do it? More not than often. So CA Cafe comes in to fill that gap, where we connect the CA, the syllabus, not just CA, but any commerce syllabus, to the news in an educational as well as entertaining manner. It's in the form of podcasts, and that's how this whole journey started. The inspiration started because I used to do a lot of reading, and CA took everything away from me. It was only books, books, books. So that's when I thought something has to come in to fill this gap, and that creative instinct was always there. And to do all this and get it out there, my father is my inspiration. He's the greatest entrepreneur I've always seen. I've seen him, his struggles, how he's come up, and today he's my mentor.
That's so nice. Thanks a lot. We have with us Dr. Manasa. Actually, she's an academician, but along with academic activities, she's also been an entrepreneur. I was really thinking how an academician can become an entrepreneur. And I'm sure many of you here, many teachers here would be thinking, how can we balance between academic activities and entrepreneurial activities? I really want to know, ma'am, how you got into this entrepreneurial activity along with your academics.
See, basically, I had that entrepreneurial mindset. Because even when I was working with institutions, I've been working on something which is innovative. And I was heading Center for Innovation at the institution where I was working. And then I realized that I had several competencies which I could offer to the corporate. So, and through an institution, it was very much limited because you will have a lot of teaching hours, and then also balancing with doing some kind of a consulting with organizations. So in that context, I said, why I cannot expand this particular competency to the entire corporate world. And that's how I started something called as Analyze Research Solutions. Analytics had just taken off at that time. Some boutique organizations had been set during that time. So I thought, why can't I offer, because I had learned a lot of analytics for my PhD, and then I was also guiding some of the candidates on PhD. So I thought, let me combine these two, and I started Analyze Research Solutions, where we offered market research, and I developed several research products. So to scale it up, like something like differentiation, product differentiation. So we learn the concept, but making it compatible to the market. So developing it as a product. So I developed several, whatever concepts we learned in marketing, because I was a marketing faculty, all those marketing concepts that we learned, I developed it as research products, and then capsuled it. And then I said, these are the tools that can be used for this particular product, and these are the tools that can be used. And that's how I got into this one. But I came back to academics again because I was doing the same thing, like whatever offering the companies various projects. And when I got an offer to get into companies, I thought, why not I drive the same thing with lot of support. See, when I was running the company, I required lot of students and then lot of faculty who were there with me to support in the activities. So the same thing, I came back to the institution, and now we are trying to do it through the institution. So
Actually, it's a daring act, ma'am, definitely. Yeah. So I know now, having heard about their stories, it's quite interesting to know what entrepreneurship is. It's interesting to understand that you have all got into this journey, but I'm sure this journey has not been that easy for you. All of you would have gone through with some pros and cons all through. So definitely we are keen to know what were the major issues that you were facing, or what were the challenges that you came across as an entrepreneur. When you started off your venture, I'm sure it would not be an easy sailing boat. So what were the major constraints that you came across? Or I don't want to use the word constraint, or what were your major issues that you came across? Yeah. If you would like to start with Kavya, or yeah, Kavya, you can start with it.
So Triveni, have you heard of this philosophy called yin and yang?
Yeah.
So it's basically the philosophy of balancing opposite but yet complementary values. So that was the challenge I always faced as an entrepreneur, because my entrepreneurial ideas, like Dr. Raghutama sir was saying, you were entrepreneurial, but entrepreneur I became post my wedding. So I had my challenges as a family, my kid. So I had to be a mother and a wife to my family, and for business I had to be a leader and show commitment. So you notice here there are two opposite but yet complementary values.
Yes.
So allotting time for both was a major challenge for me. So that's when, like the saying goes, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. So I did understand that the situations that life throw at you, you won't be able to control them, but you can decide how you react to them. So this instilled a lot of confidence and acceptance in me to say, okay, let me understand what it is, and let me do what is necessary at the present moment to take it step by step. So it helped me be centered and, rooted to my value system, my beliefs, and take it one at a time. So that was one challenge. One more is, just like in panel one, they had just started the discussion about limited knowledge. Now see, we are coming from management or commerce, accounts backgrounds.
Yeah.
There is no importance given to the technology aspect.
Exactly.
And I had no idea about ABCs of technology. What is Web 3.0, SaaS, or, blogs and SEO optimization? I had no idea. Everything was Greek and Latin. I have to learn from InLingua. So it was all too different for me. I knew to bring the CA Cafe on paper, but what next? How do I build it as a product?
Exactly.
That was a crazy challenge I had to go through.
Okay. I understand these issues which all of us face. In fact, many of our students who come to us, they say, we are not from technical background. So how can we take up entrepreneurship? And definitely learning is always possible, and there are various platforms like InLingua as such, which is going to support them. That's what I would like to tell all my students who are here, who want to take up entrepreneur and who are backing out only because they are from non-technical background. And having heard about your challenges, Savita, I'm sure from the business front as an entrepreneur, you would have faced various challenges. What do you think by your business? Of course, in the male-dominated society, what do you think was the major challenges that you had to face? Yeah.
Yeah, entrepreneurial journey is a series of challenges, right? How you solve that is what our entire journey is all about. So right from the day one, every day is like a challenge that you face. Like I still remember in the first year when we started InLingua in Bangalore, there was a very good demand for English and foreign languages. One day it's like the corporates especially. One day I was sitting in a meeting in Oracle. When I started, I'm all alone into it. It's like for my family, it's all Greek and Latin. Like she said, nobody understands the business that I do. So I've always been alone, and it was challenging to find a mentor or right kind of people who could support you, or people challenges were always there. One day I was sitting in a meeting in Oracle, the directors there, they wanted to kickstart a program for all the people for languages. And they wanted some decision on pricing, and I gave them the answer. They said, no, you don't have to answer it now. Go back, consult with your top management or whoever it is and come. I said, no, I'm the founder. I'm the only person. Let's close this. It's like, this is actually. They said, no, don't be in a hurry. Please go back and consult and come back. So it's like sometimes it's like you have all these challenges, right? And when we started, it was in the physical front. We have the first center was in Jayanagar, then I opened a second center in HRBR layout, Kamanalli, and then Malleshwaram. Traveling becomes a huge challenge. I always had this dream. It's like every year I want to open a new center, spread it across South India, and very soon I realized it's not easy. And sometimes you never know. It's like they ask you for a meeting. Okay, can we meet you next Monday at this one? I do not know if my daughter was only 2 years when I started, and after starting the business, my son was born. What will their status be? Sometimes they're not keeping well, and I can't leave them and go. And a lot of challenges like this. And even in the business, sometimes it's like if you don't visit a center, there was this person who collected cash from everyone and ran away. You don't even realize. It's like until the students come back for the certificate, it's like still the system is there. And in the Kamanalli HRBR layout center, it's like all of a sudden the center manager left. We didn't know what was happening there and things like that. So you take up all these problems and bring about a system there, right? So this exactly helped me move away from the people-driven systems to a system-driven business. Now I'm completely automated, thanks to all these challenges.
That's nice. So when you say system-driven, how did this thought process of developing a system evolve around?
So, I mean, when I started facing all these challenges, when a person leaves, it's like, where is the data about the students and things like that. That's when very early on, I mean, in 2012, 2013 itself, we got Salesforce. Salesforce CRM is not for a training organization like us. But then I was always thinking about the future. If you have a proper system, the kind of freedom it gives, the flexibility to grow. So, but it took years to even implement, get it right and things like that, and a biometric system or a cashless system and things like that. Every challenge that you face, people leave and go, okay, why not bring all the data into a CRM? It's like cash collection is a problem, so why not bring in a card, online transactions, automate your website, start taking in payments online, or maybe a biometric system. And so like this, every challenge that we had, we started bringing in a system. And way before the lockdown happened, we were completely ready with our LMS system and online, and the market was not ready. We would like keep telling everyone, why do you want to travel so far and come to InLingua? Start off online. Nobody was ready. When the lockdown happened, the system was perfectly ready. I was so happy, jumped into it, immediately informed the landlords that we no longer need an office. And this is how planning ahead and bringing in that automation helped.
Very nice. Your forward-thinking approach really helped you well in advance.
Exactly. It's like business is all about...
Before the COVID set in.
True. Business is all about, we don't build in for today, for the next 5 years and 10 years.
That's very nice.
So that really helped.
Thank you, Savita. And Priya, I know when you start a business, there is a lot of risk associated with it. And when you thought about starting a platform where you want to bring in a lot of trainers across, I'm sure it would not be that easy, and coordinating with them and working with them would really be a challenge. What are the kind of risks you had to bear when you were doing this?
See, risk was, abundant actually when I started Culture Place. So, beginning, see, one was home front and one was the business. So both of them are prior importance to me. Yeah. So I'm a, elder daughter-in-law in a Orthodox family, and again I had kids. So there are a lot of things that everybody know that we need. Our importance is the prior at home front. Everyone was like, oh, you leave your job and how is that? I mean, how will you manage all these things, platform, and nobody will believe. See, if I tell them that we will deliver a skill, either offline or online, nobody will believe it in the beginning. So it was really a challenge for me, and time was a major factor. So a family also, I have to give time, and for this. So what I did is I just went on, coordinating in the system. I used all the possible platforms, social media, and got in the trainers. And, in the beginning, 2017, we pitched this. So at that time, we have tied up with Just Books. So whatever the activity centers, we used to deliver it there. So earlier, for offline sessions, we hardly got participants in the beginning. So from learning dance to, defense also we coach. So there are various skills. So we have managed a website also, and we keep on updating whatever the workshops there. So beginning it was a challenge. Once, as Savita mentioned, we were prepared for online also. So once the COVID was there, people started, coming towards online. So we were in the peak actually during online. Lot of participants were there, and really we came up very well during lockdown. So that helped us.
Pandemic has been a blessing in
Yes,
disguise
yes,
to many of
exactly.
us. Yeah, thanks a lot. So Kavya, just wanted to ask one thing. See, you were not from a technical background, and in spite of it, you got into something which is demanding technical requirement in all your activities. So what was the kind of support you were trying to bank on, and how could you trust on that person whether he's giving you exactly what you are expecting? Because normally our expectations are different, and what is delivered from the person is normally different. So how could you bridge against this gap?
When you talk about trust and the person I trusted, there's one sitting right there. My husband is a techie, so yes, he helped me a lot in actually putting up all this in place. And along with that, I mean, today there are a lot of teams and companies who are there to support us in all this. But it's just that it all involves huge amounts. So how far can we actually take it forth was the question. In fact, I started reading a lot. So I read voraciously to understand what is all this, to make sense of whatever technical jargon that person is talking is actually going to make sense for every buck I'm paying him. So that helped me a lot. It's always good to be first aware yourself and then get into, whatever service you're going to get from anybody else. So that really helped me a lot.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
And, as women, I just want to ask our panelists, managing the office or the entrepreneurial activity plus your family is a bigger challenge. Your work-life balance is a bigger question that comes in. I know when we are doing all this, how really you manage with this? Ma'am, what was your approach to build in that work-life balance in your life?
I never felt it a challenge because the drive was within.
Okay.
And then I never felt that I'm balancing something.
Okay.
So first thing is, for all those women who are here, I would like to say first thing is, we need to keep out of our mind that the gender part, because that always disturbs us and will say that you will not be able to do, you are constrained and all these things, those constraints we need to come out of it, because back of the mind always we keep thinking that I'm a lady, I'm a woman, I have family, I have in-laws, I have to take care of all that. So just being out of this frame of mind, basically, so just thinking that whatever we are doing, in a family we are all together.
Yes.
So when you are working, you forget what is your gender. Otherwise what happens, always weaknesses come first. Because we are all, women are generally negatively wired, and then we tend to think about this is not possible, that is not possible, I have family, I have to rush home, and these things, will really bother you. But the focus and the passion and the drive that you have takes you forward. So I think keeping gender, because even if you look at philosophically, we are all same, right? So if you talk in terms of the Atma, it is the same. Only thing is, we are in a society where certain stereotypes are there, that women have to do this. But if you have if it is for the women to build that kind of an ecosystem even in the family. If you have to get support from the family members, support from institutional, if you are working in an institute, from all of them who are with you, who are working with you. So it is dependent on the individual. So if we start thinking women, 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 then I think it acts as some kind of we need to be aware, but it should not bother you. So that is what I feel.
Very well said. I would like Kavya to address this as well. Yeah. How do you manage your work-life balance?
Yeah, so see, first is to get your goal, you need the right direction and the right tools. So as initially was also told, on a personal front, I always have a thread of spirituality in my life. So I mean, it's just a science. So I'm very disciplined in my practices of yoga, Sudarshan Kriya, meditation every day. What this helps me is to answer two basic questions. If I ask all of you here, where are you? You will say you're sitting in RIM webinar hall or whatever. But I would say, I am here. And what time is it? You will look at your clock, I'll say the time is now. So it helps me rooted to being in my present moment. This awareness is like so important to be centered. And this helps me to discard emotions from events and helps me focus on what has to be done, what I am doing to get things done. And this also helps me a lot in time management. So anything can be balanced if you're in the present moment. And that comes only through practice. So it's
That's
an ongoing,
nice.
it's
That's
an ongoing
nice.
journey.
Yeah, I think all our students here will have to take away with them this valid point which she says, that is discipline in your life. So discipline in anybody's life will really help you to be more successful in all your endeavors that you are focusing on. And I'm sure both of you would have faced the same challenges. I would like all our panelists to address these issues. How do you manage with your work-life balance?
Like I said, when I started, my daughter was only 2 years old, and after I started, my son was born. So it's a constant this thing, right? The work and the life. But then where there is a will, there is a way. If you are really committed to something, you will find a way out of it. She said, it's like the discipline that we bring into our work. I think it's like if you're, maybe I'll pass it on to Priya and then I'll take it up later.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. See, if you want to start something, you should be disciplined. That is the first thing. Yeah. So see how it is involved. Culture plays is one part with me now. So though I address different issues at home, home front or office. So if I don't do anything, no, it is like, culture plays, it has become one part of my life. Okay. So this, we keep on curating it and daily it will be a learning for me. So today some trainer is not there and the next day I'll be getting a better one. And we'll be addressing daily. Parents are there with me. There's a network of parents who help me out. They suggest things. We take feedback from them. Okay, so a lot of things are there. So first of all, discipline that you have to continue, but you have to manage that. So time is always hurdle to you, but you should keep yourself committed with as Kavya said, do some yoga, meditation where it brings you lot of involvement in what you do. So you will be completely with presence of mind and you can definitely make it.
Yeah. Savita, any points you would like to add?
Yeah, I've been in this business for the last 17 years. And like I said, it's like if you're really committed to it, you'll find a way. Every day you get up, you have your work at home, then you have your office work. From morning 6 a.m. till night 9 p.m., it's a series of work that you would be putting in, right? It's like how you look at things. Are you looking at what you want or what you don't want? Where is your time going into? Are you looking at solving the challenges or are you cribbing about the challenges that you're facing? So changing your attitude and focusing on what needs to be done, I think saves up a lot of time. Many of us, a lot of time, focus on, these are the problems that I'm facing. Instead of that, if you shift that into, it's like what needs to be done. Like I said, we brought in Salesforce back in 2013 itself, even though there was no need for it. So we started solving every challenge that came up. And today we are so automated and everything is on the cloud. Any person who leaves, there is no change in the business at all. So we started looking at what needs to be done next. Like yesterday, there was one person who resigned from this one. Instead of worrying about, okay, the person is sales girl. What needs to be done?
Okay. I think this is okay.
Even a moment of thinking, oh, there is a problem and things like that is taking away that time from you, right? So start focusing on what needs to be done instead of focusing on what went wrong. Start thinking about the future. Start planning for the next 5 years, 10 years. And that's where I think we save a lot of time and it's possible to manage multiple businesses or multiple things, multiple activities. And nothing is a challenge. It's all in the mind. If you make up your mind, I think you can overcome any of this.
See, once we jump into this entrepreneurship, right? So you'll be used to multitasking also.
Yeah.
So nothing seems to be difficult to you. So take it from me. So if you start doing it now, you'll definitely prove, and you can do multitasking, and you can give your 100% in each of them. That is sure. So
I think unless we don't jump into it, we don't realize what it is exactly. So it's a very good point that you have said. And I would like to ask one other issue which keeps bothering many of us here who wants to start a venture: finance. How do we get the money for the business that we start, and how do we manage with our finances in the future after we start? Do I get the kind of money that I want with the business? That's a bigger challenge. Ma'am, what do you think is required here? What do we have to do for this?
But today's context, I would like to say that there are multiple options, right?
Yeah.
So starting with the hurdle, that it is the finance is the hurdle and not taking the step is a wrong thing. So for example, if you are totally into that quicksand, okay, and if you think that the finance is the one which is pulling you down, what is the first step that you need to do is just pull out your leg and keep the first step. So the major problem comes with the putting the first step, and all in the head, all is in the mind. Okay, so if you are if you have that kind of a drive or passion, everything falls in place. It will fall in place. But the thing is, if you start thinking that it is a hurdle, okay, if you start negative, so it may not happen. So how am I going to get my funds? It would be difficult. But in the journey, like when I started my business, everything fell in place. I had difficulty with respect to setting my, that is, renting out a place. Okay, somebody came and said that, why don't you sit in my office and start working?
That's nice.
Okay, so your rental problem is solved. And then instead of hiring people, you know, I went in for interns. So without making any payment to them. So initially, so you can gather a lot of other resources which may not be pressing on the finances. So slowly, I think if we can pick up and do it, build some proper business models, having no plan, having no strategy may lead you somewhere else. Okay, so having a thorough plan, and then what in the first panel they were talking about mitigating the risk. Okay, so colleges are the right place wherein you get all kinds of support. So you need Wi-Fi, you need not pay. So you need a desk space, you need not pay. You need human resources, you need not pay for that. You have the your own friends who can support you. And then if you need some kind of a mentoring, your faculty are there. So like this, because I am also from an education institution, I was well networked with a lot of students and faculty. And even today, any consulting assignment, I get faculty to join me and then work along with me. So because they bring in everything. So nothing would be a problem. Finance, the cost angle, you know, you will have to keep it at the lowest. So in a startup, so as far as possible, you have to see to it that not going in for a big office immediately, an AC room and all that, you know, you can start small and then you can build it up. That's how I did it. Because one system was enough for me to drive most of the things. Yeah. So finance is not a big hurdle. But however, once your product is curated, and then there are a lot of other options we have to look into, like where you have the funding, and then other bank loans or whatever. If you have a clear path, you know, carved for you, I think finance is not the first thing that you will have to worry about.
That's very nice. Anybody would like to answer this? Any of our panelists? Yeah.
I just want to add a point, and what ma'am was saying was very interesting when you said you worked in somebody else's office space. I think co-working concept started like that, right? Yeah. So from my side, what I did was, in the first panel, there was a little deviation from this. See, we start with the idea, we evaluate, we do the risk evaluation and do all that. But during that phase, I was also working. I was employed, so that at least I make money to put it back in my business. So I wanted to be bootstrapped initially. So the funds may not be too much for what I'm doing right now, but it's going to grow if I have to start marketing efforts in a full-fledged manner. But right now, all that I've earned from my employment, I'm using it for my business right now. So I feel as you are evaluating your idea and growing it on paper, you have to also start working. You start earning, and then you can always use that to put the initial seed in your business. That's something which I've done.
Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing this, that finance is, from some of the people that I ask or interact with, saying, I don't have finance, so I'm not starting. But I think that's a myth. It's like you don't need a finance to start a business. You don't need anything. All that you need is that will to start. When I started, even I didn't have finances. My family couldn't, didn't believe that I'll be able to start because I was fresh out of college. My daughter was young, and I had the small savings. I went ahead. I said, I'm starting with this. I always wanted to start up, and started up. Then what next? How do I get customers? I sat down and wrote an article in Kannada and English. Walked into the newspapers, Prajavani and Deccan Herald, and I told them, see, this is what we are doing, and I want you to write about it. And to my surprise, everybody agreed. The first article came in Prajavani, Vanijodyam in the back of this thing. My phone started ringing at 5:45 in the morning till night 11, 12. Continuous non-stop. There was no time to have lunch. 2 ministers called saying, can we have language training in our institute? Then I believed for the first time, as this happened in the first month, second month of starting up. Then there was no looking back after this. There were people standing in a line to pay up and join the courses. So saying finance is a problem, I think there are ways that you can overcome this creatively and innovatively. All through my journey, right from the first year till now, it's like we never had a problem with the finances, and I never took any money from outside. It's always the business, this one. So there are ways you can solve this very innovatively. Like, for example, you don't need to invest in so many people. When there is technology available, why not use technology and have a lean system? And you don't need to have people, like as we grow, you can keep bringing in new people at a lower cost. And the technology is there to support and hold on to the business. So this thing is there are ways to overcome this, and you can solve it creatively, and it's not at all a problem. It will come. Finance will follow.
Yeah, similar to what Savita said. See, finance was not at all an issue for us also. So we started, I learned sales, marketing, digital marketing once I got into this. So through these learnings, and also JustBooks supported us. I mean, they believed us, and we delivered a lot of sessions there. By that, I got confidence that finance is not a hurdle at all. So once we started getting, participants, they were interested, and they went to level 1, level 2 like that in sessions like robotics, aero modeling. Lot of things we have delivered, and most of the, in Bangalore, most of the locations we have delivered it. And now the same thing we have moved it to online also, and it is going on pretty well. As it is, finance is not a hurdle for me also.
Very nice. I would like to ask some of our participants here, what do you think now your mind is talking about? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? The girls here, how many would like to raise your hand now? Yes? This side, our faculty? Yes. So, is there any question or any doubt that you have which you want to ask the panelist? Yeah? Yes? What do you think is the hurdle for you to start off with your ideas? Is it the idea? The dearth of idea? Yes? Anything? Yeah. Here she's asking. Yeah.
How did you face the societal pressure?
How did you face the societal pressure?
Societal pressure. Not much actually. In our platform, we just went and marketed it. So, our major thing is kids and the parents, right? If you consider my platform. So they were looking into a lot of alternate sessions. Okay, that we had delivered in JustBooks, and also online also. So once they saw our ad, or through social media, they reached out to us, and we went on like that. So as such, I didn't feel such a pressure.
You mean the pressure from the society about you starting up, being different, and taking it up, right? So it's like very soon I realized it's like whatever we do, people will say something. Yes. Whether you do it right or wrong, whether it's good or bad. People are there to give us this one. And very soon I realized it's like what other people think of us is none of our business. What I think of myself is all my business. When you step away from that, that's where it's like you are not working from the expectations or projections of other people's judgments. You go on, do your work. Initially, they may not support you, they may comment. It's their business, I'm not bothered. I'm happy at least somebody is thinking of me.
Exactly.
These days, nobody has the time to even think. I think most of the time it's in our mind, we think that others are thinking about us, but they may not be even thinking about. It's how we manage within ourselves, right? And sooner or later, the same people would say it's like, yeah, you're leaving your kid at home and going for a meeting, or you're not available for this and things like that. Now come back and say, you're so inspiring, maybe I should have also done. It's like I've become rusted now sitting at home, I don't know what to do, and I should have also done this. And they say my kids have turned out more confident because they see me managing multiple things. They've also even started up, right, from the school or college street. So this is how you make a difference. I mean, I think you should forget about what other people think of us and just go ahead. As long as you know what you're doing, as long as you're legally, ethically, morally right, you don't have to worry about anyone in this world. As long as you know, it's like you trust yourself, even if the entire world is against you, go ahead, just do what you need to do. The same people will come back to you later.
There is a saying which says the worst bimari or the disease is that everybody has is log kya kehte hain. Whatever I do, log kya kehte hain. Once we have this in our mind, we'll get stuck. We'll not be able to move ahead. I'm sure that's a very good point, Savita, what you raised, saying that just don't bother about what others are talking about. Go ahead, if you feel it's right, just go ahead and do it. That's very nice. Kavi, you want to add something? Yes.
It's a very interesting question what you've raised. So when I spoke about the CA Cafe as a concept to a couple of folks, they told me, hey, it's a great hobby for you to use your time. I'm like, what hobby? I'm putting hours of toil to, put up the technical stuff, the entertainment stuff. It's not easy to bring out one podcast which makes all the sense and still make it entertaining for students. And you call it a hobby. That's not exactly why I'm doing it. But then there was no use, like she said, to talk to such folks and do it. I had to silently and slowly work my way ahead. Finally, you see the transition. We move from ridicule to opposition and then to acceptance. It definitely does happen. Yeah. You just have to have the patience and keep pushing ahead.
Would you like to add a few things?
No, it is more about internal locus of control,
okay. Yeah, exactly.
which is within ourselves. But especially in case of girls and women, this kind of pressure that everyone faces, that what will others say? Because we bother more about others, and then what are they saying, and then what are they thinking about us. So these problems is quite normal, because I've been mentoring students for a very long time, for the last 32 years, and 90% of the girls, the first thing is they have this external locus of control. External locus of control is somebody else. You're always bothered what others are thinking about me, what others are saying about me. So these things come first to the girls, because we are wired that way. So I think looking inward is very important rather than looking outward. Okay, yeah. So this inward journey, what Kavya said about being in now, and then or doing yoga and meditation, so will all enable us to look inward rather than look outward. So the light in you will always shine, and you look at your own light.
Exactly.
So that gives light to others. That gives light to others.
Yeah. Any other questions from the audience? Yeah. We have a question there. Yeah.
Learnings and encouragement to hear your successful stories. There is just one general observation. We don't see women entrepreneur much in manufacturing sector, right? And recently when I came across for a particular project when I was working, I happened to encounter and talked about the difficulties which women entrepreneurs in manufacturing sector face. Their stories probably with respect to the social status, cooperation, timings, meeting the client, arranging for the raw materials is pretty challenging. So I think that also looked upon, because we are discussing women entrepreneurship here, issues, challenges, facilitations, what they need, especially the one in the manufacturing.
Yeah. We also, frankly, Meghna, I've been working with few women entrepreneurs. I've also interacted with Ms. Uma Reddy and Rajalakshmi. They are all into as you say, electrical and manufacturing sector only. So I have seen their hardships. I have spoken to Padma Rajgopal, who is also into the same field. Rekha Rajgopal, if I'm right. Yes. So they are all into manufacturing sector only. I know there are challenges which they face. They had difficulties. Of course, I'm just answering this because after interacting with them, I found that they had issues, they had challenges, but they had to overcome it, and perseverance is what they had with them, and the patience. They didn't withdraw when they were very much in a bad shape. They wanted to stand like a rock and go ahead. That is what motivated them. Of course, there are a lot of entrepreneurs in this area. Only thing is we are not exposed to them. We should, if we try to explore, we'll be able to get in touch with a lot of such entrepreneurs. Ma'am, just one question to you. What do you think our institutions like us should do to make entrepreneurship as a choice to our girl students or to anybody as a choice? It should come out as a choice.
In the sense, as a choice in the sense, every institution should create a better ecosystem, more courses on entrepreneurship, and then the faculty mindset needs to be changed, encouraging everyone, whether it is girls or boys, to get into this mode. So an innovative mindset amongst the faculty can naturally drive innovation amongst the students. So this is what needs to be done. I think the program that we have introduced, the PGDM IEV, so still we find a lot of barriers, mindset barriers amongst the students to join this course, saying that what happens if we are going to fail, okay? So that's the reason we have given an option. No, you are only getting to know, have an entrepreneurial mind. If you want, you can pursue your business, or otherwise you can take up a job, and later on after 2 or 3 years you can get into entrepreneurship. So this is what we have been saying. So only thing is the ecosystem and an openness in the institutions, openness in the institutions to embrace entrepreneurship. That is what our main theme is. So institutions have to embrace this. And if institution has to embrace, it is all individuals have to do it. So faculty have to drive, and students should have an open mind. Programs of this kind probably will open up our thinking. I think that's the only option.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody wants to add to this? What do you think institutes like us do to initiate or to...
I think I just want to say what you're doing today itself is a great step. You're creating awareness about entrepreneurship. So adding to what ma'am has told, these awareness sessions are very important to ignite the spark or grow the spark within. Okay. So that's a great start.
Thank you. Any final one message to all our budding and aspiring entrepreneurs here?
I just have a question here.
Yes.
Like very well said by all of you, but then there is one thing always triggering, like whatever service or product we have, there are multiple competitors in our business. So how do you take care of that? That is also one thing, like will I be able to be successful? I have similar competitors. So how do I handle that in the same business?
I mean, if you take any business, competition is good. There are multiple competitors for any kind of, especially in the business that I'm in, languages, it's like every other trainer is a competitor, especially in the online world. Yeah. Everyone else is like not just Bangalore or India, it's like across the globe, it's like competition. In spite of that, how do we go ahead and keep doing what we are doing is what makes us different. I think you should not hold yourself back because there is competition. There is competition is proof enough that there is business. You should jump into it. Keep doing what you are doing, quality. See how you can deliver the same quality, same service or this thing at a lower cost. And if you keep at it, you'll find a way, and happy customers will go inform others and will come back. Sometimes we are so behind like making everyone happy. Sometimes it's like we might even lose this one. But there might be some people who may not really fit in. It's okay. But then if you keep doing it, you don't have to worry about the competition sooner or later. Keep innovating and somehow bring in that creativity. Keep differentiating yourself and you'll be able to find a solution for all your...
We'll take one last question. There's a question there. Yeah.
Just add to that.
Yeah, please.
One more thing here is, just like you say, when there's competition, for all your products, definitely there is a market. That is one thing I've seen, not just from this business, I've coming from a family business also I've seen. Now, just like I was talking about yin and yang in personal life, in business also there's a yin and yang. The yin would be your creative ideas, your discovery, and the yang would be the business structure and the strategy. So I have to, or all of us have to keep going back and forth between your product and the market to see how you create the best product market fit. So you will find a place there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dr. Raghavi, and I'm also a part of IEV Cell. And I had been in academics and also a part of IT industries. And I did work in a couple of startup companies. I was never an entrepreneur. I was working as an IT mentor, basically establishing the digital platform for the company, or rather in my last role, I was setting up the website for the business. And this is one of the challenges which I had seen in those companies based on my experience. So these startup companies, many a times they face the problem of, unstable market demand. They always had either a service or a product to offer, but the market demand, or rather the end customer demand, always used to change. So I just wanted to know, did the entrepreneurs over here had the same kind of a challenge, and how did they work on it?
I would like Priya to answer this.
Yeah, so what you said was very much true. See, on a daily basis, we come across such questions. There are a lot of competitors in our platform also. See, basically here what we do is we give all online sessions. So there is nothing called recorded session. So because most of the, companies which are our competitors, they offer a recorded session at a pricing. That we won't do. So here, physically, online, the trainer is available and the participants are there. You can share your ideas and you can ask that out. So this is always there. But as you asked, a lot of things are there in between. So as Savita said, you have to go for innovativeness. So if I do something robotics, for that you have to go for innovation. I have to market it in a different strategy. So that, which is probably another couple of years we can manage with this. Okay. So that's how you have to just first create, just think over what you can do with each and every skill. Because we deliver almost all the skills. Maybe it is music or instruments. We have a lot of global participants who just give us, feedback on that also. So a lot of things have come up from the parents also. So we take that also and we go ahead. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks to all the panelists, and he was asking any message just within 30 seconds time if you can give us, because we are falling short of time. Yeah.
It's all in the mind. So there is nothing like women entrepreneurs it's actually much more easier for women to start up because they're more creative. So the only thing about entrepreneurship is never give up, never give in, and never quit. If you keep doing what you are doing, sooner or later you will achieve all your dreams.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. It's a really interesting discussion. I'm sure if we continue, we can go on for hours together. But for the time constraints, we need to wind up. Thanks a lot for all the panelists here. Thanks, Madam, and thanks, Kavya, thanks, Savita, and thanks, Priya, for sharing your valuable experience with us. And definitely many of us are motivated here to get into the steps of entrepreneurship. I'm sure we will also start off something shortly. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you. Yes.
You can come this way also. Thank you, all the women achievers, I should say. Despite the odds, and coming up with some really unique, innovative ideas, making them into winning ventures. It takes some efforts, a lot of effort rather, and a lot of courage to take your idea forward. We've come to the concluding part of the panel discussion with a small mention about the valedictory process. Now, may I request Mr. Samartha Raghava the Chief Strategist in Ramaya Evolute to please come up on the dais and speak about the initiatives of Ramaya Evolute. So. Valedictory, I'll take you through that.
Should I be talking only about Ramaya Evolute?
And the valedictory address, yes.
Okay.
So please be seated. I'll have to introduce. Valedictory address. Mr. Samartha Raghava is a chief strategist at Ramaya Evolute. Ramaya Evolute is our first cross-disciplinary ecosystem, a Section 8 company which has been floated recently in as a part of the Gokula Education Foundations. This venture is one of its kind and supporting several startups. And it is indeed our honor and our privilege to have an association with Ramaya Evolute. Today we have with us Mr. Samartha Raghava representing Ramaya Evolute. Mr. Samartha Raghava is a serial entrepreneur himself and enjoys building challenging products and profitably deploying across geographies. In a span of 3 decades, he has built several products which has resulted in hundreds of millions of people across the globe. He has led engineering of telecom switches, wireline and wireless protocol stacks, and has been as a CEO or a president in 4 public companies. He has steered higher company value with his technology and business acumen. As a founder or co-founder of 3 companies, he has delivered rapid growth and profitable exits for all those companies. Thank you, Mr. Samartha Raghava, for joining us today. Request you to present the valedictory address.
Thank you, Yashaswini. Might fall. Okay. So, good afternoon, and I know that you are all tired. It's been a long session. You had 2 panel discussions and very energetic panel discussions that you had, both giving different perspectives about what entrepreneurship is all about. First, what I would like to say is that for any entrepreneur, this is the summary that I could get from the second panel discussion. If you look at, for any entrepreneur, there is some set of intelligences that you need to have. I don't know if you know the human intelligences. There are about 9 intelligences, 12 intelligences, 7 intelligences. People say that there are different mind intelligences. But the most 2 important intelligences that you need to develop if you want to be an entrepreneur is, one is the intrapersonal intelligence. That is the most important thing. So if you know yourself, if you are self-smart, and if you understand how your mind operates, you exactly know what is going on in your mind. That is when you are called as intelligent in terms of intrapersonal abilities, kind of stuff. So that is first thing. The second thing is interpersonal intelligence. So interpersonal intelligence, because any entrepreneurship requires umpteen interactions with others, because you need to make others work for your vision, make others understand your thoughts, your dreams and your ideas and all this kind of stuff. So you need to enroll people. You need to enroll people into your vision. So that is the most important 2 skills that I would say. Without these skills, without knowing yourself, without knowing how to interact and how to enroll people for your vision, it's very difficult to become an entrepreneur. And can people learn these 2 intelligences? We are talking about, the second panel talked about that particular thing, because everybody was talking about the center of locus should be internal, okay, to how to manage self, to Sudarshana Kriyas and yogas and all that kind of stuff, and how to manage the family or a work-life balance kind of stuff. So if you look at that particular thing, the only 2 things comes out is that you need to be self-smart and you need to be people-smart. So that is the first learning that you need to have. The second piece is that gene is selfish. Okay, the gene is selfish and it is always competitive, and it competes. So if you are a human, if you are born, and if you are looking at your peers, it will compete. So what happens when you finish your education? So the first competition starts with placement and package. Okay, so that's what you're competing with. You're competing with placement and package kind of stuff. So that is where most of the talent pool goes into, and that is the first peer group competition that happens. So when you want to become an entrepreneur and you're looking at all other people, okay, somebody who is dumber than you or somebody whom you feel that they are dumber or whatever it is, okay, they are getting a better package and those kind of stuff. That is first extinguishing your entrepreneurial spirit. Okay, that's the first place when your entrepreneurial spirit is pushed down because everybody is getting a job, they are settling kind of stuff. And as you grow along, the 16 to 22 or around 22 to 25 is when you are tremendously under the pressure of placement and package. But as you grow along, there is another pressure that comes in, which is the wealth acquisition. Okay, that guy got this car, that guy got this, okay, somebody built a home, someone did that, someone did this kind of stuff. So the property acquisitions, the wealth acquisitions becomes a peer competition. And then finally, when you are 40, 50 kind of stuff, you are comparing net worth. Okay, what is the net worth? What is my net worth? What is his net worth? What is my net worth? What is his net worth? That's how the comparison starts. So human mind is susceptible and human mind is built on competition. Okay, because that's the gene pool. I mean, gene is selfish and everybody has that, and that you need to compete and you want to always prove better. And the measuring metrics at this point in time in a very consumeristic society and in a very kind of capitalistic society, you are always measuring by the wealth, the acquisitions that you have kind of stuff. So as an entrepreneur, the second process where, okay, first process where your entrepreneurial spirit is extinguished is in the placement package, kind of a peer pressure. The second process where your entrepreneurial journey or entrepreneurial fire in you is extinguished is when you are looking at this peer pressure of wealth acquisitions and all that kind of stuff, right? So, but what's happening is entrepreneurship is becoming a style statement. Okay, that is, I think the first panel discussed quite a bit about that. And it also talks about you are different, right? So think different kind of stuff. In fact, Steve Jobs made think different as one of the major element for the Apple, this one, right? So think different is being very respected. And entrepreneurs are being respected quite a bit actually. And as a society, as an Indian society has moved from a public sector to private sector only in the 90s. Because the liberalization, we were in the era of socialism, right? In the era of socialism, in the era of license Raj, till about 90s. Only after 91, when the liberal policies came, from a public sector, you were able to look at private sectors. From private sectors to entrepreneurial, as a society, we are moving to an entrepreneurial thought process only from 2010, I would say. Okay, only in the past 10 years, the society is moving from a public sector to private sector to private sector to entrepreneurship. So going forward, entrepreneurship will be respected quite a bit. Earlier, public sector, I mean, when I started my career, the public sector jobs were more were fancied for, because once you get into a public sector, but somehow I was able to get into the private sector, and then it's a very different thing. But now, slowly from 2010, when the entrepreneurship fire is taking place, the society has moved towards that. So it has become a style statement. I think the first panel was trying to convey that in its own way, this particular angle. Okay, so the intelligence is important, and then when you're competing with the peer group, with the society around you, you need to know as an entrepreneur that you have a better social status. Okay, so somebody is talking about social status not being, or somebody getting pressurized because somebody else is getting package, bigger package and all that kind of stuff. That society, that era is changing. That era is changing. Public sector to private sector, there was a little bit of resistance towards that particular movement, and private sector to entrepreneurship, there will be some more resistance, and that resistance will fade off very quickly. Okay, I would say in another 6-7 years, with all the kind of policies that we are looking at, especially with the technology, when you look at what Web3 is doing, okay, you will understand that it will push every human to entrepreneurship. Okay, if the technology force, the crypto force which is coming in, the Web3 force which is coming in, if you are not geared up and if you are not understanding what Web3 is, please understand, okay, it's a completely decentralized world. Okay, when the decentralization, when the technology decentralization happens, okay, at that point in time, the way you connect with the society, the way you connect with each other changes quite a bit. The finances, the meaning of finances changes quite a bit in another 5 to 10 years, because crypto is going to change that particular revolution, and it is happening. It's all happening. So I don't think, okay, for the Zoomers who are sitting in this particular audience, you don't have to worry about, okay, will I be looked down upon if I'm an entrepreneur and all that kind of stuff? Will there be social pressure? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Okay, so that is something that you need to understand. The only last piece that I want to say is that finances. Okay, finance is most of the entrepreneurship at some point in time will start with other people's money, but it is called as in our paradigm it is called as OPM. Okay, other people's money. So that particular thing should not become an addiction. Other people's money should not become an addiction. If that becomes an addiction, that is the place where again your entrepreneurial skills and entrepreneurial abilities will be extinguished very fast. Okay, so that particular piece you need to talk about. I will just mention last thing. When Ashok Soota started Mindtree, Premji, who was his boss, gave 10 commandments as an entrepreneur. You are going out as an entrepreneur, and these are the 10 commandments that you need to, this one. Okay, so the first commandment was the party starts late. Okay, you need to understand this. The party always starts late. Okay, in the sense that in entrepreneurship, you have to have that grit to carry out for a very long time, because the real thing starts much later. Okay, so that is something that you need to believe in. And when I left Mindtree, and when I was CEO in Mindtree, and I left, and then at that point in time, Ashok Soota gave me the same 10 commandments. That is, okay, the first commandment is the party starts late. Okay, and as an entrepreneur, you need to have that patience, okay, and the tenacity and the grit to carry out that particular this one. So that is. So if you remember these three things, that that your interpersonal intelligence and intrapersonal intelligence is the one that you need to nourish to become an entrepreneur. And people say that these intelligences cannot be developed. It can be developed because there is a neuroelasticity. You can look at all brain researchers at this point in time, and they talk about how to develop interpersonal intelligence and intrapersonal intelligence. So you need to look at that particular thing. The second piece is that don't get into any kind of a pressure. Entrepreneurship is going to become a style statement. Okay, and I'm sure that it is going to become a style statement. And people who were encouraged to move private sectors, by 2000, people were, okay, in the private sectors were looking like, okay, were looked up like this, and government sectors were, okay, looked down like that. Okay, so entrepreneurship will also go through the same kind of a thing. Okay, and the third thing is that at any point in time, if you're an entrepreneur, don't get stuck to OPM. Okay, and you need to generate your monies from your business. Okay, having said that, Evolute has a very strong, we have our first cohort running. We have about 8 companies which are being mentored and groomed in Evolute. And we are immediately starting our next cohort. The next cohort, I think the May 1st is when we are announcing our application. So if any of you want to be an entrepreneur, if any of your small group want to become an entrepreneurial kind of a thing, and if you have an idea, just apply, okay? And application is very important. So May 1st, the window opens. You can apply for this one. And in Evolute, we provide 50 lakhs kind of a pre-seed, pre-series A, seed plus pre-series A kind of a funding. And apart from providing that particular thing, we also coach you how to take a startup step by step, how to make a product market fit, how to enhance your vision, how to make the vision scalable, and how to, okay, all those things we will coach. And then we will ensure that in 2 years you will get the second round of funding, or we'll ensure that in 2 years you have boot-started the company and you are making operational cash flows positive kind of stuff. So that's what we take care in Evolute. It's a very simple program. You can look at ramaya-evolute.com and or .org. Look at the website, and then you will find out that particular thing. And the last thing that I want to say is that if you want to be an entrepreneur, most important thing is you need to have that purpose, that there has to be a purpose. Without that purpose, wanting to become an entrepreneur just for the sake of wanting to be an entrepreneur is not possible. Because at some point in time, your patience loses, your tenacity, your grit loses if you don't have the purpose. So only after finding what this purpose is about, and having that particular intelligence in you, only at that point in time become an entrepreneur. That's all that I want to say. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Samartha Raghava. I think that was a befitting end to the whole deliberation that we have been having since morning, concluding and looking at every single aspect that has been discussed throughout the day, throughout the morning. It has been really engaging and really interactive. Thank you so much, participants and the panelists, for sharing your insights, sharing your knowledge and wisdom. May I now request Professor Megha to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Professor Yashaswini. We have always heard leaders are born, entrepreneurs are born. But I think over a period of time, we all have come to an understanding that leaders or entrepreneurs are not born. We can actually be one as well. So entrepreneurs are made. Today, we have so many opportunities around. We have a lot of incubators, a lot of mentors who are there constantly to support the ideas that we have. So this is the right platform and the right time, as mentioned by all our panelists, to start early. The aim of this panel discussion was to bring in that thought process among the youngsters today. And I think we have, to a greater extent, we were able to do that. It is indeed my privilege to propose the vote of thanks. I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Deepan Sahu, Assistant Director, Innovation Director, Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell and AICT Government of India. Sir, we thank you for accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion. Your presence has added great value to the panel discussion. We thank you, sir. Request Dr. Manasanaga Bhushanam, Director, to present a token of gratitude to Mr. Deepan Sahu. No, ma'am is going to come. I thank Mr. Prateek, who is a Fortune 500 consultant, TEDx speaker, and a global transformation coach. Sir, thank you so much for gracing the occasion. In fact, I would thank our student Ganesh to have helped us in connecting to you, sir. Your presence has added a lot of insights into the discussion. Thank you so much. I extend my profound gratitude to Mr. Suresh Narasimha, who has always been a constant support and mentor to all our activities of Center for Entrepreneurship. He's always a call away. Any clarification that we have, let it be our students or the Center for Entrepreneurship, is always just a call away. Thank you so much for always being associated with us and encouraging us for all the activities from Center for Entrepreneurship, sir. Thank you so much. Request Dr. Padmaja, HOD, Department of OB and HR, to present a token of gratitude to Mr. Suresh Narasimha. My sincere thanks to Mr. Raghuratham Rao, CEO, GDC IIT Madras, for taking his time out from his busy schedule and joining us virtually. We thank you, sir. I extend my sincere thanks to all women entrepreneurs who have joined us for the panel discussion. Mr. Savita Reddy, CEO, Inlingua, thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. Ms. Priya Suresh, founder of Culture Space. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us for this discussion and sharing your view thought. Ms. Kavya Rajendra, founder, the CA Cafe founder, for sharing your experiences with us. Thank you so much. I thank Dr. Triveni, HOD, Department of Finance and BFSI RIM for moderating this session. Request Dr. Manasa to present a token of gratitude to ma'am. I would fail in my duties if I don't extend my sincere thanks to our director, who has always been a constant support to us and has added great viewpoints to the panel discussion. I request Dr. Triveni to present a token of gratitude to ma'am. I thank Mr. Samartha from Ramaya Evolute. Sir, thank you so much for gracing this occasion. And Evolute has always been a strong support to us from the time we have started PGDM IEV. You have always been a mentor to us and shown us the right track towards it. Thank you so much, sir. I request Dr. Triveni to present a token of gratitude to Mr. Samartha. I thank all the participants from entrepreneurial forums, students and faculties who have joined us for this panel discussion. I extend my thanks to media people from Suvarna News who have been covering this event, who have been covering the entire event. Thank you to the IT team who has arranged for the YouTube Live and always been a constant support to us. I would fail in my duties if I don't thank the admin team, my colleagues, and my student volunteers who have constantly worked with us for making this event a success. Thank you so much to all the participants and all the student volunteers as well. Thank you so much. As a part of sustainability initiative also from the Center for Entrepreneurship, the welcome kits and the token of gratitude that's been given to all is a reusable books and stationery. As a part of the sustainability, Ramaya Institute of Management takes this initiative towards sustainability, and that's the reason we refrain from using as much as the plastic or the other elements that are really harmful. Thank you so much. I request all the participants to head towards level 5 of RM. Lunch is arranged for you over there. I request the guests to move towards RM. In the MDP hall, an executive lunch is arranged for all the members. Post-lunch at 2:30. Post-lunch at 2:30, there is a interactive session with Mr. Deepan Sahu. It is arranged over here in the same hall. We request all of you to please assemble back by 2:30 over here. Thank you so much. Our student volunteers will guide you towards the level 5 of RIM.